Crew.
And like that, we're back with another Unpacked presented to you by the To Be Fair Show and
the GSH Podcast.
It doesn't matter how you feel.
All right, y'all, we're back with another one. We got the three amigos up here, and we're going to have some fun today. We're talking about the American education system. Is it set up to fail Black America? Is it set up to fail America in general? There's a lot of back to school. All the pictures is happening right now. All the pictures. The bus drop off. The first day of school fits. The traffic. Yeah. So it's only right for us to talk about this apparatus that America has set up that impacts all of us. And yeah, we're gonna get to it. But before we do that, y'all see the panel, y'all know the guys. But there's no reason for them not to introduce themselves again. Starting off in the middle, is it 2 Chainz? I can't. Okay. G, talk to him. Yeah.
Y'all know what it is. G, hosted the GSH Podcast, where we focus on family, friends, finances, freedom, and our future, and everything else. Check it out wherever you get your pods. Just search GSH POD. Ha.
Hey, listen, when I tell you, like if you ever play basketball, like that muscle memory, like it never quite leave you. Last week, G hopped on. First thing he said was, "It's the G." I say, "Oh, he back in it."
Hey man, we putting in work, man. I've been working on my form, man. I'm coming back with a new release point this season, man. I got a new release
switch
point.
It up, man. You gotta put that elbow in.
You know.
Right. Johnny, talk to him, my brother. What's going on, man?
What's going on, family? It's your boy Johnny P, host of the To Be Fair Show. We got another good one here. Shout out to all the kids going back to school. First day, y'all get your grades going, and we're gonna get into this one, man. I'm excited for this one.
All right, y'all. Shout out Fat Boy. This is probably something that you'll be interested in. I seen you hop in the Discord, and you started this conversation earlier, and we're gonna pick up where y'all started at. I'll play this meme, and it'll at least give us a launching pad for just a decent little conversation. I'll push play.
That he would beat the brakes off of you if you guys fight. Trevonta Davis just posted that he would beat the brakes off of you if you guys fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be down. Let's run it. Like, I'll be super, super down. I don't know if
Javante needs Jake Paul. Let's be clear, right?
Is there a height limit in boxing?
How about Jake? What do you think of Jake?
Clown.
Yeah.
He's a clown. I know that Jake can't fight. He can't fight. So
would you look at it as a joke if your team was like, yo, we want you to fight Jake Paul? Would you be like,
yeah,
on, man?
I laugh at him.
Is Jake Paul someone you'd want to take on at one point?
Yeah. Tell him this is my call out. Jake Paul, what up? What up, Jake Paul?
All right, we got the promo starting already. If you have been living under a boxing rock, over this past weekend, I think it was, there was a big announcement that happened. Jake Paul, Javante Davis, they will be fighting this fall, if I'm not mistaken. And it's made a bunch of headlines. A bunch of people feel a bunch of different ways about it. There's a lot of conversations to be had. Who will win? Is 65 pounds in that height and reach? Will that actually make a difference? Is this opportunity? Is this exploitation? Does Javante have his running shoes on from that boy Roach? I don't know. Fellas, talk to me. What is y'all thoughts on this initial thing? Is this ruining boxing? I don't know. It's so many different places that we can go.
Boxing. It's entertainment, right? boxing entertainment, right?
It's a sweet science according to Money Mayweather's.
But like you got to sell tickets. That's why they do all the promo. It's a show.
It is a form of entertainment, yes.
It's a show, and you got to put on a show. And like I say, I don't think it's ruining boxing. I think people just want to get what they want to get. I think people, if the people gonna see it, the people gonna pay for it. I definitely think it's worth it. And everybody acting like they wouldn't go in the ring with Jake Mill or get in the ring with Jake Paul for like 100 million. Like everybody gonna take that fight. We talking about life changing money, and I like it, man.
Everybody will take it.
Most people should. You should take it. You get that. You don't get them opportunities all the time. So
if you are the number one boxer in your weight division, you think everybody that's like the number one fighter in their division would take it?
Maybe not everybody. Maybe not everybody, but the payday is crazy. And I think the only reason he's doing
what is Gervonta's typical payday in comparison to what this one is?
I'm not sure, but it got to be more. I think the only reason he's taking it is because the payday is substantially, more than what he would receive, doing the other fight. My understanding, I haven't looked it up. I don't know, but I'm imagining he's getting paid 5-6 times more than he would fighting Rhodes. That's why he's doing it, and I ain't mad at that.
You said 5.
And when he fought Garcia, he got 50 million.
Right.
Okay, well that's more than I thought. Okay, that's
so but that was his biggest payday, up to his professional career. He hasn't seen nothing close to that since. Now you're looking at maybe around 10 million or so.
Okay, he said so. He earned 10 million in the
Ryan Garcia fight. He got 50.
Okay, so he depending on the fight, he's between 50 and 100, 150. I mean, not 100, 10 and 50.
10 and 50.
And what is this one expected to gross or pay him?
I'm looking it up.
Is
about 40 million purse? What I'm reading.
Purse means the one that wins, or is it all
for him?
Total.
Yeah,
him. Okay, 40 million. So under the Garcia fight.
Okay, yeah. They say 4. I guess Paul will get to 60. I mean, if it's under the Ryan Garcia fight, I don't understand that because
and then Jake Paul making more.
But here's the thing, Jake Paul,
I don't really understand that. I thought the payday would be a lot higher. I for sure thought the payday would be a lot higher. To take less than you fought Garcia for, I don't understand that.
Well, Jake Paul is 6'1", Gervonta 5'5". When you start talking about boxing, that's just not typically you typically don't see those types of size. So not only is the white boy 6'1" versus 5'5", I'm reading here he's basically fights at 200. Gervonta fights around 135.
Yeah,
that's a crazy weight difference and size difference. Pause. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? The reality is,
I think that's interesting though. There's the clearly better fighter. Can he hang with the?
Oh, we definitely gonna see this.
We're gonna see if he can hang.
I think that's an interesting dynamic outside of everything else.
The question is, can he knock him out? The question is, will he be able to lay Jake Paul out? That's really the question. That's because Tank, he known for knocking niggas out. If we being honest, Gervonta, you watch your Gervonta fight because you're not necessarily looking for the sweet science. He's gonna wait his turn, see what's going on, and he's gonna go for that knockout after the middle rounds. Yeah. So I'm curious, from an exhibition going up against somebody that much bigger. One, if you're Gervonta, you probably don't want to take as many hits as you might take in a regular bout because this is a lot heavier hits. So you might not be able to give as much time to get a feel, you know what I'm saying, or just see what's going on.
That's interesting though.
They say that Jake Paul got some decent power and skill to him. I don't know. It's tough to judge.
Paul he got a lot better since his first, and he put in the actual boxing. I've seen boxers talk about him putting in the actual
I think now
get better.
He's whatever how good you think of him as a boxer, but he's clearly a boxer now, in my opinion. That's what he does and makes the most of his money from is boxing now. And he's fought official boxers. He's went the distance with official boxers. He's also fought professional fighters. The majority of people that he's fought is professional fighters. So the whether you want to say it's the MMA guys, these aren't besides for that one white boy that he slept, The rest of them, a lot of them were like Anderson Silva was known for his hands in MMA. These weren't just like run of the mill.
What was
Like,
the other dude?
is it Woodley? Woodley.
Woodley. Yeah, Woodley was.
He went on a
yeah.
run, just sleeping black guys for a little bit. But,
Who did Nate Robinson? Was that him too?
Yeah, he beat
That was the first one.
That
like
was
they see
sad.
that one shouldn't
sad.
have counted.
Yeah.
That one shouldn't have counted.
That one's sad, yo.
That one shouldn't have counted. You got to X the Nate one off.
Yeah, but he had a little run where he was, sleeping black guys. But I don't know.
But I'm saying, but he is working his way into like, I mean, because you obviously, if he's a heavyweight, he's not gonna go from fighting Nate to fighting like Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury or Wilder. So I mean, you do have to kind of work your way.
But I mean, 135 versus 200 is kind of like, I don't want to say it's a joke, but like if you're talking about professional fighters, like what 200-pound fighter is gonna fight somebody at 135? So I'm curious, like what weight will Gervonta end up fighting at? You know what I'm saying? He gonna have to bulk up.
I imagine
he'll probably be like 150 and 170 or 180. Well,
that's a lot of weight.
He ain't gonna get to 180, but I think that he, like, what's the heaviest that he's fought at?
I don't know.
Probably 150.
But yeah, I think that if I was to imagine, I think he'll probably fight at 140, 150, 145, 150. If I'm just giving like an imaginary like thought, I imagine he'll put some pounds on for the fight, just to be able to kind of deal with a little bit.
140 looks like.
Yeah, 140 was his highest.
Okay, then I think he'll probably fight at 145, as long as it doesn't feel too crazy on his body frame. But yeah, I think that this fight is the telltale of that adage, how much of a science boxing actually is, and like this whole thing of like if you get somebody that can really, really box, they can beat anybody. Like this will be that thing. The whole Jake Paul's not a real fighter. You put him in there against any real fighter. They said that about Mike Tyson at first. Then we seen that whatever the hell that shit was. That
they said Mike Tyson wasn't a real fighter?
No. That Mike Tyson at his age would beat Jake Paul, and then Jake Paul beat Mike Tyson.
Yeah,
but they alleged that like Tyson kind of like they alleged there was some staging to that fight, and that's the thing too. Like I wouldn't be surprised if going into this, everybody's like, "Hey, look, let's run up the bag. Let's not make sure nobody get nothing hurt too crazy here." And we walk away, everybody being respected. Like I wouldn't be surprised if, like, you see.
Yeah, I don't know if Gervonta Davis leaves respected if he doesn't knock him out,
bro. He's
or win by.
No, Tank. I mean, Tank ain't gonna lose no respect. It's just the dude was too like balls. He was too big.
I think so you can also outbox somebody to like Floyd wasn't knocking out the little exhibition fights that he was doing. A lot of the people, even the tall.
Logan.
What is it? Logan Paul. He didn't knock him out. Like we've seen this already happen before.
Okay, so he ain't got to knock him out. He
didn't knock him out, but he made him look stupid though. Still to an extent.
Yeah, he got it.
Logan Paul did the little part, but then majority of the fight, Floyd was making him look stupid.
Yeah.
And to me, if Gervonta doesn't either knock him out or win decidedly, like if Jake Paul makes this to where it seems like a fight, a real fight. And shit, if I'm not mistaken, Gervonta Davis hasn't been knocked down yet, has he?
One time, I think he took a knee.
Yeah, it was the little eye shit. Yeah, I think the eye shit would have been like if it counted, it was like his first official, to where I think that I'll throw this last part to this quick little thing that we're doing. If Jake Paul if Gervonta Davis loses, what does that mean for boxing?
He just got to beat Tank. He got to beat Roach.
Do you think?
Because this is exhibition, right? This is the exhibition.
It does. Like to your point, it depends on how he lose. It depends on because if he get laid out.
Yeah, I don't think nobody's gonna watch the Roach fight if Davis gets knocked out.
If he gets laid out, bro, that's gonna be crazy.
In my opinion, if Jake Paul lands and he still wins convincingly, I don't think nobody cares about that fight no more. In my opinion, like the allure of the boxer is now gone.
We still got Bud though. We still got Bud and Canelo coming
Yeah,
up.
Bud and Canelo coming up. That's really the fight to watch.
Like, damn,
That's really the fight to watch.
Beat the big white boy. I don't know. I personally would start looking at boxing differently if you're not a heavyweight.
Oh, so you saying you talking about it'll ruin it for the bantam and the flyweights?
Yeah, like the middleweight. I wouldn't be too interested. Like if I know just a YouTuber can train for 2, 3, 4 years and beat the best lightweight, fuck, I care about that. That's just me personally.
That's interesting. Jake got some skill though.
Yeah, I'm not paying for the Jake Tank fight at all, but I'm going to pay for Bud and Canelo. I'm gonna watch that at the crib.
Oh no, for sure. Like I will be watching. Well, I don't know if I'm paying for
I'm
either,
watching
but
both.
I'm
I don't
watching
care.
both.
I'm watching both of them.
Yeah.
I'm watching both.
I'm at this point. I gotta have that guaranteed crispiness on the stream. I need that bitch to be like 4K. You know what I'm saying? I want it to be
true,
strong.
They was tripping last time with that.
Yeah. We pulling up to Raleigh to watch it. It's cool. Or Durham, my bad. We pulling up to Durham. We'll make a little road trip down there. We'll have Unpacked live watching the fight. But nonetheless, I guess, fellas, we can steer our way into the next meme. I know we're not a boxing podcast, so I didn't want to leave us there too long, but it was a very interesting topic conversation that did come up. My bad. Before we get off of it, opportunity or exploitation?
It's opportunity.
I think it's just a money play. Yeah, opportunity to get the bag.
Okay, all right. Just wanted to make sure I hit that. So, nonetheless, let's push play on it. I got Snoop Dogg. I think he went to the movie theaters with his grandson. I don't know.
Watch Buzz Lightyear.
Call him Papa Snoop.
Let's see what happened.
Yeah.
That's cool as shit.
Toy Story?
Not that one, but
the new Buzz. The Lightyear. I think it's called Lightyear.
Kiki Palmer's in that movie.
Okay.
She plays like the daughter. So we watching it, and the lady, which is Kiki's mama, they move on into the space years. They move down the line. They're like, man, she had a baby with a woman. Well, my grandson in the middle of the movie like, Papa Snoop, how she have a baby with a woman? She a woman. Oh, shit. I didn't come in for this shit. I just came to watch the goddamn movie. Hey, man, watch the movie. They just said she had a baby. They both women. How did she have a baby? Shh. The movie ain't over with. So it's like, it's fuck me. I'm scared to go to the movies now. Like, y'all throwing me in the middle of shit that I don't have.
That's facts. I mean,
hey, watch the movie. Hey, that's exactly how the old heads be too, just trying to damn not ignore the shit. Hey, watch the movie.
Yeah, watch this shit. It ain't over. Ain't no talking in the theater. Hey,
that's exactly how the old heads be too, like, shh, don't want to answer no questions.
Oh, I remember shit happened with me and my pops. That's the first time I seen one of the Optimus Primes. I was like, what's I pops was embarrassed. Embarrassed. I done been there, but some of that stuff and that's why they shouldn't remake the movies, because a lot of that stuff is over the head of a 5-year-old.
They didn't remake Buzz Lightyear.
That's
its own they
it's
didn't
like a spinoff. It's like a spinoff of Toy Story.
Yeah, leave it alone, bro. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. That Toy Story was great. It's too.
I think you can easily make a full Bud Lightyear franchise, and even you can try and play into whatever the actual real story or the action figure was.
To infinity
and beyond.
That was the shit. You came front.
Yeah, I think that'd be fire. I don't know if it's important to have any version of sexuality inside kid movies. And
yeah, kids don't understand.
But they have the
not about making a new movie. I think that what's in kid movies, I think that's where I think the discussion should be, and I think there's merit to the idea of should sexual dynamics be something that is even a part of these movies.
I don't disagree with you, but for sake of conversation, every Disney movie, even Nala and Simba was about to fuck when they was wrestling in the woods and shit. When they seen each other in the Lion
Somebody,
King,
the OG, the OG.
yeah, they looking at each other, rubbing each other, all and shit. Like, oh, Simba, oh, Nala, like even the lions flirting and shit. Yeah, it's like
on top and gave him them eyes. I remember it. That was
every Disney movie got some kind of princess dynamic where you're gonna have this quote unquote love interest. So like I agree. I think it's too much, period. But like, do you put that on just like stories regardless of it being straight or whatever, or are you just talking about are you just talking about specifically like no like alphabet stuff in the show?
Right now you going super woke and you're introducing the idea of what do they call it, heteronormativity. And if I'm promoting heteronormativity, or am I saying that it should be asexual and in general?
No, that's not my question. So you framing it wrong. What I'm saying is
that sounds like what you asked.
No. What I'm saying is I agree that we don't need to hypersexualize children's content, period. Whether it's straight, whether it's LGBT, you really don't even need to have it really in the content, period. Is my take.
But
my question to you is, are you saying that it doesn't need to be sexual because it's gay? Or are you saying it doesn't need to be sexual, period, like regardless? That's my only question. I'm not fighting for one or the other.
Right. I reframed your question inside woke terms. Like that's heteronormativity and asexuality. But Johnny went to answer.
I don't even know what them words mean, so I can't accept that. I don't know. I don't know what I can't accept that. I don't know what none of the words mean. But if that's your words, I can't accept that what you saying is true. I don't know what you saying mean, but hey, Johnny, you rock on.
Well, no, I'm gonna answer it very specifically. I think like because we talking about nuclear families and stuff like that. I think like there's nothing wrong with like showing like romantic and love interest. That's not necessarily like, sexual. But like when you start talking about babies and stuff like that, that is where it kind of
so you are cool with two women
no
being love interest in a Disney movie.
As long as they're not having babies.
Well, nah, I'll take that. Yeah, hold on. Wait a minute.
It's okay. Like you can stand on that. It's not. I don't even think it's
okay.
Wrong.
I mean, but like, okay, well, then, I mean, funny. It's okay. I guess what
you just acting like your actual stance.
I guess. I mean, I guess I'm more of the hetero. What you would call it, the normativity. Like, I don't see nothing like wrong with that. But I think like. Because the birds and the bees, I think, especially like most people, like, and your first understanding of it is kind of like that. And then, like you say, when you start adding layers to it, it gets way more complex. And I think a lot of that is what's over the, being able to be like, digested by kids' brains. I think like, but just the basic like nuclear family concept, I think that's okay. But then when you get to like some of these exotic concepts, I think it gets like too much for, a young brain to handle.
When you say exotic concepts, what do you mean by that?
Whatever they were talking about in the Lightyear movie.
That's
one of them exotic coverages, bro. That's a robber. It's like a cover for robber.
You on that Zah, guys. I probably lean closer to Johnny. When it comes down to the your initial question, I think that to me, like the normal framing of how society moves forward would be inside like heteronormative, and that is what the highest percentage of people deal with is, and that's like their lifestyle. If I'm void of like any version of like any of the LGBTQ conversation and things like that, I think that those are things that, in my opinion, is concepts that should be introduced at later stages. And I think that it is not specifically appropriate for kids at that age. Typically, if you are a kid, like the pairing of how you got here would have came from what quote unquote would be said as heteronormative. And so like there's likely, well, okay, we know that there's a bunch of different situations where you could be with grandma, grandpa, single mom, single dad, or even like some of those same sex situations that happen through. There's a bunch of different ways, but in general, the majority of the populace has a mother and father. So these are dynamics that a good 95% of society has went through. And so like I wouldn't outlier it to where these things shouldn't be because of like the root of the majority of stories that these movies are based off of, like the good fairy tales, and I forget what them like the guys that used to write books way back in the day. But these stories have like some version of like the nuclear family. And again, I personally I don't think there's anything wrong with anything like the LGBTQIA, whatever, like that grouping, but I do think that it's something that should be a conversation later inside, like a person's development. That'd be my take.
Oh yeah. And I also think like we got to talk about like, I mean, we talking about like societal norms and stuff like that. It's like, why should all of society, you know, switch and kind of make themselves uncomfortable for something that is like, you know, only a small percentage? And like we could work on like making that percentage feel more comfortable in the space, but the whole, you know, that they shouldn't dictate, you know, making the 90%, you know, kind of changes
I
and
don't
start
think
making them. I don't think that's like you know, I think that's dysfunctional for society.
I was gonna say I don't disagree. I don't disagree. I was gonna say I don't disagree at
like,
all.
if these are grown-up movies, like do whatever y'all want to.
Right.
I don't care. Like I can choose personally to or not. I just don't think that the introduction at that age, because again, I don't think that even as we speak about heteronormative imagery and relationships and roles inside kids movies and things like that, like I don't think that there should really be a bunch of like man woman coupling and like the hints at like any of the, like I don't think you need a storyline for a kid movie that has to have that at all. I think there's so many fun other ways that you could do other shit.
I agree. I agree that, and it's like I feel like I said, I feel like, you know how like if you're gonna have these alphabet concepts, I feel like then at minimum it's gotta be PG-13, and that's conservatively speaking. Like I think that's conservatively speaking. Like if you're gonna have these concepts be like in the movie, that needs to be like in the little sub writing to say this is why it's PG-13. If it's a PG film, I shouldn't be taking my child there expecting to bring up the birds and the bees, expecting to bring up any kind of relationships, like anything that's like serious like that. It should be very much like family friendly, like you said, creative in ways. You can, so many creative ways you can hint at like people being together without it being like this like political statement, if you will. So yeah, I agree with Snoop on that. If I go watch a kiddie movie, man, I'm just trying to enjoy the time.
Why people gotta be together at a kid movie?
Yeah,
and I want to add something too. I want to add something too. Like another reason why, like I mean, like a lot of the cartoons from like the early days, like even the heteronormativity was problematic because you think you got people like what's the little skunk, the Pepe Le Pew.
Yeah, Pepe Le Pew.
Like that's not like a good like thing to put in cartoons
like,
either.
That
bro is like a predator. And like you can't like that's not a normal
Johnny Bravo is another one of them.
Johnny
like,
Bravo, yeah.
Like, there's a bunch of heteronormative behaviors that
just this mass
in cartoons that also I don't think that are appropriate. And that in hindsight, even though like Johnny Bravo
was Cartoon Network,
it was pushed for a little bit older demographic.
Yeah.
And so like you can give it a little bit of a plea, but when you say Pepe Le Pew, like that's still kid.
That was a kid.
Yeah, that's Looney Tunes.
He pretty much was on grape culture. My bad.
Yeah, he was nasty.
Like he any means necessary. No means yes. Like
knows when a yes.
Like, I'm sure a lot. I ain't gonna say a lot of guys, but I'm sure some guys got that concept of like eventually I can convince him.
They call it a wear down. Erosion.
Right. Game means I gotta just keep going.
Erosion game. I'm just
that's crazy.
All right. So yeah, nonetheless, if we are done with that one, another quick hitter. Speaking of old rappers, and before I even pull him up, pause. I think that I will say I got Snoop is starting to age. Like I was looking at him in that meme, I was like, he looked like a granddaddy for sure.
He
Papa Snoop.
Yeah.
He's still a cool granddad though.
Probably. But yeah. Speaking of old rappers, with baggage, shout out to Will Smith. Will Smith, I guess he dropped a video, and there has been commentary about his usage of AI.
I haven't seen this. This is
Wait a
crazy.
minute.
No. I know you can face it. I know you can make it. You gotta believe. Bryson Believe in yourself. Bryson you can do it. Take it home. You can do it. You can make it. Yes, you can. Yeah. I know you can make it. Through the dark night of your soul. You can make it. Whatever it is. Whatever it is.
What is he singing?
I have no idea. That's crazy.
I've never heard that Big Willie style record ever.
I think that's a new one right there. But yeah, it seems like pretty much all the crowd shots that had things to do with Will Smith,
AI.
seemingly were AI generated.
Oh yeah, her hand fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah.
You saw that? Go back. Look at the hand.
Oh yeah, it's anything happening right there.
Oh yeah.
But,
no, that's very nasty work, Will. Who's advising this nigga, man? Like, who left the team is the question. Because he was like,
and he was killing social media for a little bit too.
For a long time. Like, I mean, his whole image period. Like, Will was that nigga for a long time, man. Like, who left his camp?
Well, the thing, it might have been who infiltrated this camp. You know the answer.
August Alsina, damn.
It is still August.
This nigga can't even get through the month without crashing out. He gotta every day he wake up this month is like it's just like PTSD. Every time this nigga see his watch, his phone, he like, damn.
I need love. No pun intended. Throw up some
Damn.
AI. But go ahead.
I mean, I don't know which ones were. I mean, I do know which ones were AI, but it looked like he almost didn't need to do it because he did. Like, it looked like there was a crowd there, like from the shots that weren't AI. It just seems like they just did it.
The things that was showing specific Will Smith love, seemingly were AI.
Yeah, but that's I
mean, maybe Will Smith is like doing some opener for like a big artist or something, or maybe he had one time somebody brung him out and he did 3 songs and one of them was that one little weird song right there. Because Will Smith he got to do Get Jiggy with it. You got to come out to the West Philadelphia.
Summertime as well. Like, it's summer too. Like, you got to hit summertime.
Summertime.
I said 3.
Gotta hit summertime.
Then you got it.
Men in Black, and they gonna have to do that line dance. Men in Black, when they gonna do the little line dance to get up out of there.
Yeah.
Hey, I've been hearing Miami go crazy on the radio. This
Miami is an alright record, low key. That joint goes, yeah. Come in the club when the heat is on.
Yeah.
All night
and just the 2 of us got down too.
Yo, no, that joint is an alright little record. It is. Hey, Nas did his thing on that album. I ain't gonna lie to you. He crafted some records for Big Will.
Oh, I know he was all over the album.
Yeah, Nas Ghost wrote a lot of that album. Getting Jiggy with it, Miami. Sense. Yeah.
Okay. But nonetheless, I think that it just introduces like a quick conversation of the usage of AI and how it's now starting to infiltrate like your biggest artists when it comes down to Will Smith is an icon, a name that's reverberates everywhere. Whether you want to we could jab at some of his music, but movie star and everything else, Will Smith is an icon. And the fact that like he's now jumping into this arena to use AI as a form of compensation for like crowds and attention and acclaim. What is y'all thoughts on this? Again, like it's been it's a slow AI trickle. Artists and the usage of AR within their art. What is your thoughts?
I mean, I think it's just like it's getting to the point where it's just like word art back in the day or something. Motherfuckers just sprinkle it on to make shit look, because like if people can look at it and tell it's AI, it's not doing the job. Like I mean, because like if you could look
Well, I
at it,
think you got
motherfuckers.
it. I also think that if you don't care, you probably wouldn't have paid attention. But I also think that in a year, it's going to be undetectable. That's kind of like the exponential.
It's almost there. It's getting there. It's getting there.
Well,
It's
then
If you
getting
go
there.
back 3 years and see Will Smith eating spaghetti, I'm sure you've seen that meme
Yeah.
where they first
Mhm.
started like the video AI,
Yeah,
and then you
yeah.
look at AI now. And what's the new Google VO3? Is it VO3?
I
And
think, yeah.
shit, even the little baby little talking shits, like it don't be bad. It really don't be bad.
I mean,
I don't want
I
to say.
I'm not like the biggest like I don't care. Like I think there should be regulation on it where if it's something that's like important, there should be a way to verify, like especially once it gets that good. I think there should be some kind of metadata tag on it just so you can actually tell, just for safety reasons, just so like they can't make a video of you doing something at this. I think there needs to be some kind of regulation on it. But as far as like me caring about like the artistic, like does it take away from the art? I don't really care about it used like that. I think if you can put it in your content and it brings more value to it or it makes it look better, rock on. But I think there should be metadata tags just for the safety of society, to where we can actually tell what's what. But I don't really care about the usage of it.
Man, like you said, like Will Smith, he not just a movie icon, he a hip hop icon, he a cultural icon. Like he really was one of the ones, like he was really one of them ones. And he's on like a crazy, just I don't even know how you, like, it's gonna be a history documentary written on a fall off, because it's just like for him to go from this like level of perceived like prestige, just of being so thorough and thoughtful and creative and all this other stuff, to now really like struggling to even look cool, so to speak, when he embodied that for so long. Like, this the Fresh Prince, you know what I'm saying? Like, he really set the tone for culture in the 90s. Like, and even to this day, a lot of stuff that's coming back was inspired by things that he laid the foundation on, that people biting on. Like, it's just it's sad to see that he's at this point where you go from being this like seemingly authentic Philly kid with this like flavor to now this like now you got the GMO seasoning. You know what I'm saying?
But like, my thing is, that happens to everybody. Like anybody that gets 55, 50, the coolness wears off with age.
Shout out to Malice.
Not necessarily, man. Not because you adjust with the age. You adjust with Nas still fly as hell out here, in my opinion.
But Will was never in that lane, though. He was never in that lane. Like I mean, like the gangster stuff.
Denzel,
like it ages
Denzel
well.
has stayed fly for decades.
He just put a new hairline on.
You gotta grow with age, man. You gotta grow with age.
He put his
I mean, yeah, Denzel cool. I'll give you Denzel. But like the rappers,
Morgan
like,
Freeman. Like, it's a bunch of niggas that
Ice Cube moving accordingly. Like, I mean,
niggas was mad at Ice Cube a couple years ago too. It was
about what?
When he went to go I guess the platinum plan or whatever.
Bro, that ain't got nothing to do with him being cool.
But he not, he still got his big three. He do his music when he want, make his movies. Like, like
y'all right.
He not known for being the best actor. Like, if we being honest, you know what I'm saying, or making the best movies either. But
Jay-Z.
Yeah. I think
there's a lot of niggas you can
Will Smith was aging gracefully, and then he just wasn't. It was like all of a sudden, it was crazy.
Of what is it?
Y'all leave my man Will alone.
That damn Red Table, man, fucked him up. That Red Table, Jada took it.
That he could have, like, there was still a way out of it if he didn't do that interview with Jada.
That Red Table,
and then at the table, and they said, what did it say? Something about bad marriages for life or some shit like that. They tried to make it bad boys for life.
When he was just sitting there in pain, he couldn't even act through the pain. That nigga was hurt so bad. Yo, this nigga crazy. He couldn't even act through the pain. He was sitting there crushed.
Yeah, he became a mean.
Had to bring that young nigga to pop it because Will couldn't get it done. It broke that nigga's soul. That they had to put that out on Facebook.
Oh yeah,
that shit didn't even premiere on YouTube. That shit premiered on a
Facebook. Yeah.
But, she wanted all the family to know.
Yeah,
put that shit up.
But nonetheless, he did throw up something that I want to fact check really quickly, and I looked it up, and this is interesting. I guess. Tell me, what did y'all thought?
Sounds soft as hell.
Stupid. But it says on-screen representation, themes, and narratives. Films must meet this standard, having at least one lead or significant actor from an underrepresented racial or ethnic group, having at least 30% of the actors of minor roles from at least two underrepresented groups: women, LGBTQ, people with disabilities, underrepresented racial groups, ethnics, etc., etc. A film centering the main storyline, theme, or narrative on a underrepresented group. These are the new requirements to be able to be up for Best Picture for the Oscars.
But they saying they're not required.
I think you have to meet 2 of the 4 new diversity and inclusion.
Okay. 2 of the 4. Okay.
2 of the 4. But
I didn't know. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I didn't know that either.
That's ridiculous, frankly. But that's crazy. That's crazy.
That actually makes sense, though. That's why
these shows don't make no damn sense. Be like, yo, who put this cast together?
Why it had to turn gay at this one point?
Yo, crazy.
Because a lot of times the shit do come out of nowhere. You'll be like into the story. You'd be like, this is a decent story, and then
here it go. Inevitably, you be like, here it go.
I didn't turn movies off because of this shit, bro.
I'm telling you. I've been even into the show. I'd be like, yo, I'm not watching this show no more. I'm good.
That's ruined a lot of shows.
That one scene, I'd be like, I'm good, man. I can't do this no more.
What was that show? Dear White People or something like that. Like, it was a good show for the first.
It was a good show.
And I didn't keep watching one season. They just went left. I was like, All American did that shit.
Went left one time.
All American did that shit real bad.
I don't think I saw that.
Oh damn! I don't know. I guess they representation.
But how much representation? Okay. But if these people aren't like 30% of the populace, why they gotta be?
Is LGBT?
But Johnny, they say that about black people.
This is
like,
true.
They're only 13. They're only 13%. Why they need to be represented?
Hey, to put it in there to get an award, I think it is ridiculous. I don't want nobody to make a movie about me because you like have to. Like,
you don't like the Rooney Rule,
right?
That's I think that's totally different because that's actual job. These are accolades.
You gotta have.
Are you talking about opportunities versus accolades? These are two separate things.
You're fighting for the opportunity to get an accolade.
No, it's different. Nobody need an Academy Award. Niggas need jobs. Niggas need to be head coaches.
Niggas don't need to be head coaches. They need a job. They need to be a head coach. All right, let me look this up. It says it's 9%, 9.3%. What percentage of America is black people?
13, 14.
Damn. It might be 12 now.
Damn, we down to 12.
Well, it just depends on how good ice working though. We might be back up though.
According to the group chat, they're supposed to be sending back all the Haitians and Africans too. So I don't know.
Oh, Johnny, stupid boy.
All right. Nonetheless, fellas, where are we at? This would probably be if y'all have no other commentary on where we're at. Time to start segueing into the main topic. So, in sobering news, today there was another mass shooting inside America. This one happening in Minneapolis. I believe that this was at a Catholic school that served kindergarten through 8th grade, I believe. I'll play a clip of the news story, and from here we can kind of talk about it and have conversation.
She's just seeing family after family. These are more families walking out. They're telling us she's just seeing family after family walking out. So thankfully, some of these, look at that. Oh. Look at that. Yeah. Just, you know, and that right there is what any parent is feeling right now. You're not going to let go of your child this morning there, whoever you are, wherever you are this morning. And look at these, just little ones. You see the one behind her? You can see these are live pictures of people. So we now know, thankfully, that many of the families are starting to be reunited there. You can see that one right behind with the glasses there. That is certainly an Annunciation kid with their she's got her shirt on there too, but some grim faces, of course. And then, you know, and I look at this little boy too, who is, you know, in a way, like blissfully unaware of just the horror that's going on around him. But so many kids in that school are not. The school goes all the way up through 8th grade. There are many students there that know exactly what is going on. And I think about students at any school that has had a shooting there and the impact. You talk to kids about Sandy Hook, however many years later, and just the chilling and devastating impact that has had on them after all of those years. Another family here being reunited with their little one. Once again, this is a K-8 school. So you have kids as young
as the nation mourns two children, ages 8 and 10.
I got some numbers too, Q, to give it a little more context. Like
Annunciation Catholic School in Minneapolis earlier today. The children were sitting with classmates in church pews during a mass. At least 17 others are wounded, 14 of them children as young as 6 years old. We just learned the 3 adult victims are parishioners in their 80s. The Minneapolis police chief just moments ago said all of the injured victims are expected to survive. The school includes students pre-K through 8th grade. This was the first week of school. The mayor of Minneapolis today expressing profound grief and frankly also some anger at the failure of our leaders to take sufficient meaningful action to prevent the continuation of massacres like these in the United States.
Don't just say this is about thoughts and prayers right now. These kids were literally praying. It was the first week of school. They were in a church.
Moments ago, the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, said these kids went to school to find learning and curiosity, and they were met with something very different.
They were met with evil and horror and death. And we often come to these and say, these unspeakable tragedies, or there's no words for this. There shouldn't be words for these types of incidents because they should not happen.
Police say the shooter died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound after using 3 different weapons to shoot.
What we know is that the firearms were purchased legally and recently. Jake?
Whitney Wild in Minneapolis, thanks so much. And we are learning a lot of new information about the shooter. We are trying to verify it and make sure it's accurate before we bring any information to you. A video posted on YouTube does appear to show the shooter rambling, saying things such as, I don't remember how far I went, and there's bugs in my skin, and I can't deal with this anymore. We saw a person flipping through notebook pages with indiscernible writing. Some pages showed dates, including today's date, August 27th. In a different video, you hear the shooter referencing a message left to the family.
Here's my note to my family.
Let's bring in CNN's Brian Todd, who is tracking part of this part of the story. Brian, what else are we?
I think that gives us enough information and context. I guess, fellas, what is your thoughts?
Yo, just to make sure, so two children, an 8-year-old, 10-year-old, they pass.
I think 14 in general.
14 children were injured. 17 total people were injured, and this individual used a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol. All 3 shooting through the church windows,
and then killed himself right after.
And then off himself. Like, it's, you know, it's a very unfortunate, like, across the board. It's no way. It's just really no other way to frame it. It's like, you know, I'm looking at that, so it's like I hate to do this, but now I'm just kind of looking at it from the standpoint of like, okay, the makeup of the story is very political. When you start talking trans community, targeting a church, it's like a lot of cross sectionality.
Yeah, I get. Like, is there more information that you haven't said yet that helps?
So
you said train, so
the shooter, then the shooter was Robin Westman, a transgender woman. So I ain't even gonna lie to you. I don't know what the right term is, if it was a man then a woman or a woman then a man, but I'm thinking it was born a man, transitioned to a woman. If you're a transgender woman, I think
that's the.
I apologize if I don't have this right, but I think that's what it is. And so you got somebody who transitioned to a new gender and is like anti-Trump, anti-God, anti-religion, going this far to attack children at a Catholic school. I'm curious to see just how this is digested by the zeitgeist and what it leads to, because you know, when Dylan Roof went up in that church in South Carolina and did what he did, I think people saw it as grotesque, but at the same time there was a lot of empathy for the shooter. So I'm really curious to see how they end up laying this out over time as it relates to this individual who took their life, given what they did being just really just something you can't, you know, it's just deplorable.
Yeah, I think it speaks to society as a whole, because I mean, like, a lot of this stuff, like laws, background, like it's tough, like because if like people won't do what they want to do, I think it just goes to like we got to have more security at these vulnerable points that house our children, the churches, the elderly. Like I think we got to beef up security, and mental health is a thing. I think all this goes back to like the society that we live in that creates these people that do these kind of things. We could point to one law, one piece of legislation, but I don't think just one thing is going to do. And it's a overall kind of cultural, societal thing that we're dealing with, and we got to figure out like the roots of like where are like how do people get to that mindset to even do that? Because whether it's a gun, whether it's whatever, there's a bigger root to that where and you know, I might not have the bigger answer, but I think these are mental health issues, societal issues on a cultural, you know, a country level that we have to try to figure out how to keep people from even getting to that point in the beginning. Because you know, guns don't, you know, kill people. People kill people. They use guns, but you know, I think we just gotta, you know, focus in on the bigger issue when it comes to this stuff.
You said the bigger issue was what? People killing people?
Just the mental health, mental illness. I think this is a cultural for, you know, for the phenomenon almost, where we got a lot of people in this country dealing with a lot of things, and maybe whether it's the food, whether it's the, you know, the algorithms, whatever it is, the video games, the media. But we have a lot of people in this country. I saw something where the number of mass or I think it was serial killers, but our numbers are so much higher compared to the rest of the world. And
Yeah,
it
I think
speaks
that
to,
we lead per capita and inside total numbers when it comes down to mass shootings and killings.
yeah, so it's like it's an American problem, and we got to figure out, you know, what's wrong with us, and that's it. It's a us problem, man.
So I
We
guess
gotta,
let
you
me
know,
ask you this: in looking at solutions for specifically school shootings, what does y'all think? Is it being heavier on gun control? Should we be putting guns inside the hands of administration? Should there be armed guards? What do we think would be a viable solution?
I mean, this person shot through the windows.
But
Wasn't even inside.
With
You
the question,
know,
if there were, if schools had to have because they also, I did hear inside that video that I played the full clip, they spoke about how, like, the shooting went on for a while. Like there was like he shot until he emptied all his clips and then he killed himself.
He used 3 different
He didn't
guns.
get like
yeah.
hit with any gunfire or anything like that. So there was no opposition inside the scenario, which introduces the idea of if there was, say, like a requirement that on duty you have to have 1 or 2 armed guards, or on like a requirement that 1 or 2 administration have to have a sealed what is it, concealed carry permit, in which they have to have on them at all times. And maybe, if you got 10 administrators, y'all can rotate who has it. And like,
But no, I think
Do the school resource officers carry a gun? The cops that be in the schools, do they have a gun on them when they're in school?
I think
want to
so.
say they do.
in Rock Hill they did. I remember the ones like
Yeah, I
in
want
my
to say
high
they
school had
did.
one. They was like
Yeah.
real police officers. They were full.
Yeah, regular, like full
Yeah.
uniform and everything. Yeah. I think that makes sense, right? Like, I remember having police in the school when I was growing up. Like, you saw the same people all the time too. Like, there
But
was
they-
like
they-
a rapport
they
there.
typically, like, that's more concentrated inside like black schools, or like I don't, like that's where I've seen the concentration of like the need to have.
So that was not like a normal public school experience.
No, I think in Rock Hill, I think every school had
Okay, yeah,
one,
Johnny,
at
I
least
guess,
one.
yeah,
I think every school had at least one resource officer. Now,
that
I
was
not
there
a couple.
But
Yeah.
was they there every day?
Yeah,
They were there every day for years,
like yeah, we talked to him and he'd be there but like
year after
I
year.
will say it wasn't like the like it was almost a desk job, but like it's an easy, like, it's like an easy
Oh, no,
assignment.
sure.
They don't do it like they ain't put them there thinking they're gonna actually have to, like, protect. They put like the older guys, it wasn't really like a real security. It was just like a presence, more of a deterrent than like an actual like security force. So it's gonna actually stop something if something go down.
No, but like if there was a fight, for example,
yeah,
they were the first ones to get buzzed, and if somebody needed to be body slammed, it was gonna be one of the resource officers body slamming somebody.
Nah. We had some principals. We had some principals that were about that. I done seen a couple. I seen a couple get put on their head. But I think my thing is we gotta have heavy security at these places, and whether we gotta put like like how they do at the airport where there's checkpoints and you can't get past certain perimeters without the proper authorization, without going through metal detectors, without going this. It's sad that we have to do that, but
just not to let you not to completely cut you off, but just to interject really quickly. Typically inside all these scenarios, it's not a kid that brings the gun in their bag and sneaks it in and then unloads in the school. Like, they come once school is started and then start unloading.
But they breached there's usually no like barrier. Even in the one in Texas, the guy there's an unlocked door. He just walked in. Like, there's no like security like perimeter around the schools that actually prevent like
right.
them
I guess
from
I'm
getting close.
just
That's what I'm saying.
But I imagine that in itself is an out. Like, schools are supposed to have like all the doors are supposed to be locked. You're not even supposed to like prop the doors at all. Like, that's we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Yeah, like you said, all the doors locked. You can only get in through the front or get buzzed. You got to hit the buzzer for them to let you in.
One way to get on the campus, one way to leave, and it
Yeah,
throws everything.
that's the requirement. Like, when I go to my my son's school,
that's how they are now.
Like you have to get buzzed in. Like,
you got to get buzzed in, and that's going. You can't just hit the door and think you can just walk into school.
Yeah, like
when class is going on.
He probably, like, it was one of them things that wasn't supposed to happen. But saying that to say, like, school, I don't know if metal detectors matter in this scenario, because these are people that either know a way to get their way in, or like this guy was shooting through the window.
Well, then
right, that's crazy.
I also saw something. This was like yesterday, maybe Tuesday, about it's a company they trying to put like drones like in the school, like armed drones, to where like if it get it, they come out and they engage. It's a thing, but like you got to increase the security. Like you got to increase security around these places. And
I ain't rolling.
Whether it's armed,
if it's humans, I'm cool.
I mean, it's really only a matter of time if the military uses drones. It's only a matter of time until local police start using drones to take out missions and stuff like that.
That's way safer than sending like a person in there.
Like, that's safer. I don't think that's going to get close to schools anytime soon. Like, that's going to make it through the population. It's going to be a lot of barriers before it gets to schools because of the risk of AI making the wrong discernment on a kid.
That was the biggest thing with it, and like it was the AI,
Course.
like that
And
was
the,
the
the
big.
kill, like
But
them
the
drones done
response
killed a
times would be
bunch of
crazy though, and the
that
execution,
too,
like
but
it'd
like
be safe.
ask them people in the Middle East what them drones do.
I mean, hey,
Eh. That's all I'm saying. In my opinion, I mean, like the quickest answer, like I'm not a gun person, so like do gun control all you want, but that I don't think that's the best answer, the quickest answer. To me, I would push the idea of like 2 armed administration. It is you like they don't the student body shouldn't know who that is. It should be a concealed carry. And even if you had a scenario where, in general, if you have 8 to 10 administration, like everybody is required to have they concealed carry. Everybody is required to take explicit, specific training to a certain extent, to where there is always 2 people that are prepared and trained for a worst case scenario situation.
Like
I don't think that'll work, because I've seen a lot of these situations where, like, even the police officers that get there, they hesitate, and so then to ask a teacher or a principal to go in there and then to not hesitate and then immediately just,
Not hesitate,
I think that's a lot when that's not even your main, like, that's not your job. Like, you're a principal, you're an administrator, and like there are police officers that are trained, they know what to do, and they still get in those situations and freeze up. So I think to ask a principal to do that, I don't see how they're not going to freeze
like,
up also.
but we're not asking them to do this every single day. We're asking,
That
like,
makes it worse. Like when it happens, like when it goes down, a lot of people are going to freeze.
I guess maybe I'm trying to understand, like, your rebuttal to the situation.
I don't
So if we're looking for solutions and having, like, you don't think that having some version of a deterrent or a defense within the administration would help, even if say 50% of them froze up, just the ability to have that.
I think
would not
having
make a
more
difference.
security guards in general would be better than putting that onus on the principals and the administration. I think
I
just
think
having more
that
police in general.
if we're talking about a school that in general are already underfunded, in, like, I just looked it up, like most, not, I didn't look and see if, like, the percentage, but all schools don't have resource officers, and like BMTs, they have to go from school to school sometimes. Like, if we're talking about what is an actual feasible solution, in my opinion, whether, like, again, like, these aren't people that 9 times out of 10 is like niggas that have to defend their home. Most niggas don't ever get their door kicked in and have to defend their home. And then there's also a bunch of people that freeze up. But guess what? There are some people that have it and use it properly. There's also, like, just the idea that deterrent exists to where everybody feels safe and whatever. And then just the fact that it's known that these exist on every single campus is a deterrent in itself. Like, I think
a visible officer in the front of the school would be more of a deterrent. Like, you put 2 officers right in the front by the door. I think
I imagine everybody would agree that 2 armed police officers, if we say, like, that is, like, I agree. Like, let's say, like, every single school gets 2 armed police officers. I don't know if that's possible.
I don't know.
But I do know that every school has about 8 to 10 administrators. I know that for a fact. And, like, this is like an actual real feasible that doesn't, like, it doesn't involve any version of extra funding needed.
I mean, I guess we just talking money and like, I get it.
No, I'm just speaking realistically.
But
like, if we're looking for a solution, I don't know if, like, arming every teacher is a realistic solution. But people that have, like we're talking about master doctorate level people, like, I would trust these people with concealed carry, even if, like, they're not on them. Even if this was something that was like, you have safety boxes XYZ inside the school, that only 2 to 3 people have access to, and it's only in this case of this specific code, I am completely okay with that. And I think that is a reasonable solution to it's an answer. If it's not going to solve it, it's not going to.
I think it could be part of the solution. I think it could be part of the solution.
Did they allow carry conceal in North Carolina? Was that a thing recently in the last few years where they said that you can conceal and carry on school grounds? Or did I miss
I don't know
that?
about school.
I think I remember
South
hearing
Carolina,
something
I
a
don't
few
think-
years ago. They were talking about letting teachers use their concealed carry, like so they can have their teachers can't keep their gun in their car on school grounds. I could be wrong. I could be.
Like I don't know because a teacher just got in trouble here in Charlotte
for having a gun. Okay.
All right, bet.
Yeah.
Don't listen. Don't listen to us for legal advice, y'all.
And I'm not for teachers, to be honest. I think administration, especially like the official administration, not like BMTs and shit like that.
What's a
like
BMT?
The real behavior modification technician. Like it's the niggas the niggas that run down whenever the fights are happening.
Oh, we ain't had that shit when I was in school. We had principals. And
teachers. Now they
and guidance counselors.
Definitely got them everywhere. I think like especially high school, you probably get about like 6 to 7 on staff.
That's all they do.
Yeah, that's all they do, and they like they're the security guards. That's in essence what they are.
Oh,
okay. Every school's always had like this.
Hey, get them the guns.
No, not like that. That sounds fucking crazy to me. Like these aren't people that like I'm going to trust the highest ranking people above like people that you don't have to have like a college degree to be a BMT. Why would I be?
Oh, okay. I thought you said okay. I didn't know they just there. It's just basically there.
Well, they're there to do their duty, but like,
but if they can't be there to like, but I guess they're just there for like behavior and like fights and stuff. They're not like actual like security guards.
You know, some kids is strong, bro. You need them reinforcement. Some of these young boys, man,
I'm
they
not
strong.
Nobody that's like, and this is where, even if it's not on the body of the administration, I think like maybe lockbox XYZ, because I also don't trust people in like fight and flight panic mode. So like I wouldn't want that on BMTs. I wouldn't want that on teachers. Like them kids to cut the fuck up. So like I wouldn't trust that in the classroom.
But I just imagine, like, and this is why I'm more in favor of the armed police officers, because I just imagine some of these schools are big and there's only certain areas where the guns are or whatever, and they're not on the teachers or the administrators. How long does it take to go and retrieve said gun or go get it out the spot?
Quicker than it
come back. Versus having an armed security guard or armed police officer who can just immediately go engage the subject without having to go and retrieve anything. That's why I just said I don't necessarily.
I think that there's a logistical issue because if not, every school would have armed police officers there. Whether it's funding or whether it's police, like numbers, like there's a logistical reason why and you got to like, and I'm sure that's literally the issue where elementary, high school, and whatchamacallit, when you're thinking about like in Charlotte, there's like what 20 something high schools. No, I think it's like 30 high schools, but then there's like 2 to 3 middle schools that feed into
every high school. Yeah,
and then there's also like getting into elementary schools that feed into those middle schools. Like it's an excessive amount of. Now multiply that by 2.
Yeah,
and I'm sure this is where the issue lies at.
I pay more taxes for it.
Okay.
I pay more taxes for it. But I mean, like,
okay.
I think that's a crazy thing in America where we talk about like money issues where I think that's missing funding where there's people like, how many school shootings we gonna have till we pay for it? Like, I mean, it's kids dying. Like, I mean, I think that's a bad excuse if we saying it's just money. Like, because we got plenty of money in this country, and I feel like even if we have to increase the budgets for that, I think that's something everybody could agree on. As far as like, we all went to school, we all send our kids to school, like we all are sick of these school shootings. I don't see why America wouldn't be behind that.
I think they should invest in just like what's the word? What was it called when you renovate? They should renovate the schools, put in like safety measures so that it's bulletproof glass throughout. That you got like certain
Like every
safe doors all throughout the room.
it's
So like in case you need to just keep people in a room, you know that the door is not gonna get busted down. You know they're not gonna shoot through the window.
that
You
is
know what
a
I'm
very
saying?
that's another fair.
That's a good plan.
Like,
like
so if you can't afford to have the staff and be everywhere, like just make the facility safe. And I know we can make the facility safe relatively easier than, like you said, trying to staff. Granted, you know, schools are struggling with funding and stuff, but I think that's an easier lift than, you know, the other way. And at the end of the day, like I think there is concern because once you start having guns in school, I mean, kids gonna be kids trying to get their hands on these guns. I don't know about y'all, but I was in middle school when I saw my first gun in school, and so like I would imagine today, like in a state like North Carolina, if I saw my first gun in school in middle school, I would imagine like kids even in elementary school are seeing guns potentially just because of access and parents and stuff like that. But
Actually insane, a middle school kid with a gun. It's
Oh, you talking about?
I mean, that's when I first saw a gun
I
in
mean,
school. Was middle
I've
school.
seen it ninth grade, but it's still just a crazy concept to think like somebody that young just walking around.
Had it on them in school.
Yeah.
Yeah, kept it in the locker too.
Crazy
Like, yeah,
concept.
yeah. So like having those guns in school now you just risk like more people getting shot, more injuries. When in reality, what we want is just for them to be safe. So like make the school safe.
Box that gun. Give it to
Yeah.
the principal, assistant principal. They got the code and they gotta have that training. That's what I'm going with. I'm also cool with the
I like bulletproof glass.
like
and
the code
doors.
red, like immediate lock doors.
That Joe
and
Clark.
bulletproof
Code
glass.
red.
But also, and I guess like this starts to lean a bit to like the topic as we're like slowly walking into it. It becomes a very thin line between that and prison as soon as you have automatic locked doors and bulletproof glass.
Turning the East Side High.
Pipeline.
Well, no, actually, we're gonna get the prison the school to prison pipeline. But before then, I guess I did want to use this and one more question to kind of walk our way into this education conversation. So generally speaking, is America as a culture suffering from mediocrity inside the educational system? We look at what Vivek Ramaswamy's like the thing that got him kicked off of MAGA, where he talked about how Americans suffer from mediocrity and the immigrants are the ones who are succeeding and working harder, and they have like a better quote unquote culture to what they value and how they reach success. And yeah, I guess using all of that to say, when we look at success rates here in America, after you go post high school graduation, Indian Americans, which kind of like, well, Asian Americans, which include, you know, all of Asia being like Indians, Japanese, XYZ. These people are graduating, earning at a higher income. They're testing higher, like, et cetera, et cetera. Is there a American mediocrity issue and value issue when it comes down to education? Why are we failing, or why are we behind?
I absolutely
As
think
America.
it is. And I think it goes back just to our investment that we were just talking about, like money and stuff. I mean, we can look at like how much we pay the teachers versus how much we pay everybody else. And I think that goes too. 'Cause I know plenty of people who started out as teachers. They try, very talented people, and then they end up leaving the space to go and, chase more fruitful, adventures thing that's going to help them take care of their families better. And so you have a talent, rush out of education because of, these people aren't getting paid good wages. And I think it starts with, us paying the teachers more. We get better talent, and then you start to see, better results from that. So I think it's a top down, thing when it comes to mediocrity. And I think it's just a lack of value that we put on our education system, or our educators more specifically. Can't hear
We
you.
can't hear you, my brother.
I think similar to what Johnny's saying, but from a different angle. I feel like it's not so much we have a mediocrity sort of thing with education. I think education is just not that affordable, and therefore like
Good
it's
education.
not as easily accessible. Like it's just become privatized in a way versus like these other countries that do well. It's very much like easily provided. Like the people get access to a similar education regardless of where they're born, etc. Whereas, here a lot of your education is based on your zip code, where you're born, and then from there, beyond public school, nothing's guaranteed, right? So, and how much higher education costs. So I feel like it's not so much we're mediocre. We've just made education like very unaffordable and somewhat unattainable for certain populations.
Wouldn't you say that like what you described seems like a American value issue in general still, because of like when we talk about public education, like these countries are ranking high, like America's average, almost like mediocre when it comes down to like the global international scale of education, especially once you move into like first world countries. And like again, I do agree. Like there are definitely certain barriers, and we're gonna walk our way down through some of them when we talk about private schooling and things of that nature. But generally speaking, do you think that there's, and I guess I'm re-asking you the question again, even though you just answered it, like taking all that into consideration, like is that not a value issue? Like the idea that we put so many other things in front of education,
it could be
the education system is failing, not to be a spoiler, at the rate that it is in general for all citizens.
It could be
okay. Go ahead.
It could be a value thing, but like even like your point about like these other countries like that have better ranking education, they often still send their top students here for higher education and to perfect their studies. So it's like an interesting dynamic where it's like these countries rank higher, but then when they're looking to like really like hit their pinnacle, where do they go? They typically come to the States to finish their studies or continue their research or whatever the case.
Right, but that's more of like an institution thing, though, right? Where, but and to go where you're at, the like even second and third generation, because of when we look at like the data for high school students and then college students and like those demographics as they break down, like these now are like second and third generation like immigrants, and these are the ones that who are speaking about like their like Vivek Ramaswamy was born here in America, so like he was speaking to the idea that their culture values education in general within their within the Indian community, so they use the public school system or like this like the systems that are available here inside America, and they max out at that, and that's why they're seen at the higher rankings of the American school system, which goes to like the idea of why a lot of these people from wherever, like you can go to like a black or Middle Eastern or Asian country, and they'll send some of their brightest over here, to where I think it's a fair argument to say, like, do we still have like respectable institutions? But if those respectable institutions are primarily most successful for immigrants and second generation immigrants, is there an American value issue? Because the American students aren't the ones that's benefiting from the American institutions.
No, yeah, America.
Well, that's an American people problem. I think it's
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a value issue in terms of the emphasis we put on the importance of formal education and et cetera. I do think there's a value issue there. But I think it's driven because in our country, it's just education is more privatized compared to others. And I just think that when people come over here and pursue what they pursue, they come over here like understanding that they're putting all their chips in and they're going to make sure that they get something out of it. Whereas when you're American, you know, for better or for worse, you know, our version of poverty is not like their version of poverty, right? Like we have oftentimes running water, electricity, ability to get like some sort of food supply. Like the average quote unquote person in poverty here is living a dream compared to these other places most of the time. So yeah, I just feel like it is a value issue, but I think the values are being shaped by the industry of education more than anything else, personally.
I think it's more like on the American people, because like if these other people can come from other countries and come here and take advantage of the same thing that we got, but they just apparently they figured it out better. They know which majors to take. They know which colleges to go to. They just play the game, better. But I think I think it is an American problem, because I think capitalism has like lied to us about like when we see the American dream and we look at like the richest in our culture. They didn't get there by school. They got there through nepotism, through like capital. And I think there's a lot of where the American dream for like us, that rich and famous lifestyle, it's hard to attain that through your through your 4-year college education. So I think there's a lot less emphasis on that. We do entrepreneurship. There's a lot of other things that we probably focus on as a culture outside of school. uh and these other cultures, they come in and they focus in, and they don't go for the $1 million MBA entertainer stuff. They focus in on very attainable goals and they reach those, where I think a lot of time we just look past those small attainable goals and end up with nothing or less than what they get because we're not focused on it.
Gotcha. All right, so I guess moving on, or continue the conversation. I guess let me ask you this: is the school system set up to fail Black America? We're talking about the school to prison pipeline. I did find a quick little meme. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. I'll play it. Should I say? But yeah, I like just giving some of the similarities between school and prison, but then we can talk about like what we literally see to as the school to prison pipeline. All right. So we're speaking about the school to prison pipeline. I think that maybe if we're kind of like speaking to like some of the tenets of it, it's like I guess maybe we're speaking about like harsh school discipline policies. Shout out to the armed security guards that y'all wanted to school, the police presence in the schools, the disproportionate impact of just its disproportionate impact on quote unquote minorities, the tracking and underfunding of schools, the criminalization of behaviors within specific schools like skipping and like the truancy officer and shit like that. That tends to then criminalize a lot of Black youth at an early age. And again, all of that before you get into some of the parallels as so eloquently put through that video. I don't know, fellas, what is y'all thoughts? I'll ask y'all this question. Is the school to prison pipeline real? Or is it just a symptom, a small piece of the puzzle of poverty, housing insecurities, community violence, and lack of resources? Is it like an over-exaggerated blame, or is this like a real thing?
No, I think I think there is a correlation, but I don't think it's necessarily, I don't think school is the causation. I think poverty is the overall causation, and poverty is what creates a lot of these bad schools, to begin with. I don't think the schools are necessarily put in place. I think if you look at like the origin of, the Board of Education in this country, it was actually designed to take the kids, and not even black kids. It wasn't even designed for black kids. It was designed to make these white people work better workers for the factories. And so I think that's the real essence of the bail systems, and the discipline is designed to turn the American into a worker for the factory, into a labor force. So I don't think it's necessarily built like meant to take it to send black people to prison. I think it could be used that way, especially when you put it in when you use poverty and you underfund the schools based on their zip code, and it's not fair funding across the board. I think that's what leads to a lot of these issues in the school. It's not necessarily because the school's set up to do that. I think it's just a bigger symptom of the state of our communities.
I gotta disagree a little bit on this one. I do think that growing up in a poverty-stricken environment can breed a certain type of behavior. But the issue with the school to prison pipeline is that schools will criminalize these behaviors that tend to be associated with these communities. So, for example, even especially young black boys, a lot of young boys don't sit still. You get what I'm like? It's very tough for like young boys to just sit still in a class and listen to the teacher for the full hour or the full day and not be distracted, not have outbursts, not do things that little kids do. And school will have a way of like making you seem like a very bad person because you just simply had too much energy, couldn't really sit down, like was asking too many questions. Like
what are some of the things that you're saying that they would criminalize though?
So like for example, like if a kid has a moment, so like in certain communities, this idea of like talking back or how you talk back, snapping, if you will, like, oh, you played me, like, you know what I'm saying, like you get it, so now you front, right? It's like you feel embarrassed, now you put on a show because oh, you didn't play, now I'm embarrassed, now I got to make sure that I show off real quick, right? Like most skilled teachers can deal with that and it not turn into like a bigger issue. But there are a lot of schools where they're just not equipped to deal with the personality types. And instead of like managing the personalities, they'll just call the resource officer, get them out of my classroom. When in reality, they didn't really do anything that warranted like officer intervention. It's just maybe the teachers don't have the skills to manage the classroom effectively. Like
I think that goes to underfunding.
I'm gonna go right to you in a second, Johnny. So, but again, I'm asking, like you use the word criminalize. So you're not using that like literally. You're using it more figuratively.
So when I say in the context of school, it's like if I'm going to get written up, get suspended, because these things start to stack up on your student record. Like once you get written up once for being loud in the classroom, now all of a sudden next month is like, this is the second time this year you said you had an outburst in class. Now it's like we got to suspend you, and it's like I didn't really do anything. It's just like,
how do you think that should be dealt with? So like, well, I want to. I'll listen to you, and then I'll
let me hop in because like I think because like my dad was an educator. He's been in the school system, and he was actually like at the end of his career he was a hearing officer. So like there are levels to like even once you get the write-ups and stuff, like you might get kicked out that main school, but they're programs and stuff that'll help you complete your school and help you get back into main school. So like there might be a little like they'll put you in different diversionary behavior programs, but the thing is if you complete them and if you get through the school, you have way better of an outcome versus like I think the problem is the kids they end up dropping out and don't go through completion. They have way more of a criminalization, and I think they end up in way worse spots than the ones who actually go through and finish the schooling. So I think the teachers, and when they're in bad, they're underfunding, but I think you still have to put an emphasis on completing the actual schooling because that's where you get the opportunities more.
But let's stick with what you're presenting. these quote unquote alternative programs are like breeding grounds for like deviance. Like, if we're being honest, you're taking quote unquote the most behavior riddled kids, putting them concentrated in one environment, and now like you have a concentrated pool of kids who have shown a history of behavioral problems, and now you expect this group of kids to sit down and be quiet. It doesn't really it doesn't make it conducive for learning, in my opinion. So while these programs do exist, these alternative
But those are
routes
them
and things
second
like that,
chances,
once
and
you
like
get
like I
get pegged as one of those kids, once you get pegged as one of those kids and they take you away from the main classroom, that is almost like being in jail, bro. Like it's like they're removing you from your own like regular situation. They're putting you into like a cage with other people. It's just I personally am not a big fan of.
I'm not gonna say a cage because I've seen some of these programs, and a lot of them it's like more physical work, and a lot of kids they're actually like you was talking about kids that can't sit down, that are a lot of these programs are designed for those kids who have the ADD,
They
the
kind of be like
ADHD,
type.
the hyperactive kids, where they give them more of a like an open like place to get out some of that energy. Then you have programs that get the structure, but
You're probably talking about like the delinquent schools, like Crossroads and Charlotte.
rebound. It's called rebound.
I don't know if Johnny was specifically speaking about that. But I don't know. Damn, we went a couple different ways. Go ahead, finish, Johnny, and I'll hop in.
Oh, but no, that's all I was saying. I was just thinking like even these programs, they are designed to help the kids who are having problems with the main, the main course of school. And yeah, I think if you just complete them, and I get it, it's not fair a lot of times because of the teachers. And you get there's discrimination, prejudice, and a lot of time being put in them is unfair. But I think the programs still are there to keep kids in the school, in the schooling process, because once you complete it, I think the outcomes are a lot better.
Yeah, and I ain't trying to have like too many hard takes inside this, but matter of fact, I'll ask you first, G. So when you have a kid that is presenting those said things, like let's say this is a kid that has opposition to defiance, and they're having these outbursts and they're doing these things, what if not separating them outside of the classroom, because of at some point it does become a distraction for the rest of the populace? And then again, like I know like I have a very specific kind of way that I deal with it, but like how would what would you say these teachers should be doing if you're saying that they shouldn't be like getting these kids separated from the classroom through these outbursts, especially as they've gotten older?
So let's be clear, right? Do I think that teachers deserve to have a room conducive to teach the children in the class and be able to remove subjects who aren't like being following directions, being good students, etc.? Yeah, teachers should have the ability to manage their classroom. So I'm not trying to suggest that, but what I'm trying to say is, if you do have an issue with a child, the threshold to suspend them is my issue ultimately.
Okay.
Like that's more so what I'm saying. It's like once you start suspending kids for things that I feel like can be maybe handled a little bit differently, then I feel like that's where the line comes. So, and once you start like taking kids out of like their normal environment and putting them into the quote unquote alternative school, I just feel like if there's something going on, there should be something at the actual school, some resource at the actual school that should be able to work with said student versus let's just suspend them. Because the reality is that once you get suspended, you are more likely to commit a crime. Like statistically speaking, when you're suspended from school, kids who get suspended are more likely to fall victim to committing crimes. And so,
but that's why they put a lot of these programs in these places. Like even my dad, like they had the rebound and they had the behavioral schools to keep kids in a structured environment, even though they're a behavioral risk. but it still keeps them and allows them to be on track to graduate. And I think,
Yeah.
but like what you say, if you just suspend a kid and don't give them nothing idle, idle hands to do the devil's work. But I think that's why you got to have these programs in there, because like even if there's a kid with an issue, you still want to give him an opportunity to graduate and go on to get that
Yeah.
or get that diploma.
And I personally don't want to just shit on like these programs primarily because of outside of like very outlier, extremely like one-off violent situations. A person to make it to like one of these programs, like a rebound program or like a crossroads or something like that. Like there is like they've gotten a decent amount of chances. So like I like matter of fact, I'll give like an anecdotal experience where like so middle school I was homeschooled. So going back to high school, I went to like the new upstart, which was like trying to be like a charter-esque school, but was like you like they unveil it and you find out it's like delinquent school for kids that then got kicked out a bunch of times and shit like that. So like I spent like my first 3 months there. It was like 2 to 3 months there or whatnot. And so like I'm like this homeschool kid walking into like this scenario and it's like the wild west. And like when you just talk to everybody, you be like, oh, it's like asking niggas what they went to jail for.
Exactly, yo. That's exactly my point. That's exactly my point.
I smacked the teacher and a
That's
principal.
exactly my point, bro.
Like it don't be one-offs. Like it's like a trail of it. And like I understand what you're saying because listen, like have I seen enough like inside my tenure there enough shit for sure. And it was like I said, it was his own very specific environment. But I also understand that these were people that was given 5 chances at the regular school. And then, like it ended up being to a point where they had to get moved to another specific space. And like it's hard to denigrate that if it's still an option. And like I know that shit's hell for them teachers, and that those teachers that's inside those specific programs, like you have to be equipped with a lot more. But yeah.
I gotta. For me, it like when you talk about personal anecdotes. I just know from personal experience, these teachers can have personal vendettas against students.
Yeah, that's when you move to a new class. You move into other places.
That's where good administrators come in.
Yeah,
you gotta have good.
That's where you hope they. That's where you hope they come in, right? But like for example, my guidance counselor, like straight up told me like college ain't for you, bro.
That's a wild guidance counselor.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like just because you had these people in these positions don't necessarily mean they're looking out for the best interest of the students. I remember
she wasn't happy with her paper.
I was, so you know how like in North Carolina you had to have like 2 years of a foreign language to go to a 4-year university. You have at least 2 years of a foreign language.
Yeah.
It took a nigga 3 years to get through Spanish too. Okay, so I'm in my senior year. I'm in my senior year. Like I need to get like a great grade on the final just to get the passing grade to get over the hump, like at the end of the year type shit, right? And the guidance counselor this whole time is not even trying to say like, yeah, we could. She's like, no, you know what, Durham Tech, that's the route for you. Like there was no like, let's get. She was really trying to like just like not even have me on a path toward she was really trying to like.
And you know what's crazy is that I took 2 years of French in high school, and of course my French teacher was horrible, and I don't know I can say one paragraph in French and that's it. Like I don't know anything else about France or French or anything. Right?
I took 5
so much
Spanish.
So much that I took Spanish in college and passed Spanish 1 and 2. I also kind of got like teachers that was like the Spanish teacher that I had, like the main thing that he wanted from us was to understand that Spanish are black and black people. Yeah, like like that was his main thing. And he had like a
Spanish is central.
Yeah. FBA ain't gonna like it. But
Afro
that was his main
Latinos.
thing. Yeah, he was big on that, and he was like a like a Corona drinking Hispanic, and he had his own little documentary that he did. And truthfully, like all the tests, if you took Spanish 1, 2, or 3, like he was gonna give you the answers, and then he'll pretty much call everybody up and ask them the exact same answers. You could just repeat the person in front of him. Like he kind of understood the shit didn't really matter inside the scope of most people's shit, so he didn't take it serious. But honestly, I don't know if most like college Spanish classes, like people take it that
Bro,
foreign language to take it that serious. But I was like, what the like?
I chose my major just because it didn't have no foreign language requirements when I got to school. When I got to school, I looked at all the majors. I said, what does not require foreign language? This shit is not tripping me up no more. I was like, oh, business? Perfect.
I took Spanish in college. You know, I had to stay a day after finals because I skipped that shit because I knew a little bit of Spanish. So my attendance was fucked up. So I had to do extra credit to come. But that shit was tough though. Spanish, and I still don't know Spanish like that. This shit crazy. You do all that shit and you don't be around nobody Spanish.
And I had a situation too, right?
But you gotta be around Spanish speakers to learn it though.
Where I had a situation where, so yo, you know what it's like for your mom just to pop up at the school unannounced, like knocking on the door, like, and then everybody like, oh, that's your mama, is that right? So
that didn't happen. That's like elementary, middle school. But yes,
this happened to me in high school. My mom was
I
getting
had that in high school, but it was for a different reason.
My mom was getting calls from the teacher repeatedly, and I was trying to tell her like, I'm not doing it. But I was just being like a kid, right?
Talking.
Yeah, talking. You know what I'm saying? Just regular shit. So then she was like, I'm just gonna pop up at the school. So she popped up at the school and she got to see herself. She was like, so the teacher comes outside and he says something that's like very like slick. He's like, you know, these types of kids. And the way he said it was immediately like, me and my mom looked at each other, was like, I'm like, see, I told you this nigga tripping. And he was talking about, you know, these types of kids like him. And like, she was like, what do you mean? And he had a very clear prejudice to him that like he couldn't even hide in front of my own mom. And it wasn't until then, because I did get in trouble at school, and she did assume I was always lying, because I would lie from time to time. I would.
Because I would.
You know, because I would lie. Because I would come home and stress the truth of it.
That's called a fib.
Because I did get in trouble.
I did get in trouble when a nigga would lie, right? But I was telling her, like, yo, it'd really be the teacher. But when she saw it herself, it changed everything from that day forward.
At the right time, the right teacher.
The right time, right teacher. I was like, see, I told you. But she never believed me. But hey, I ain't gonna lie, I be getting in trouble. I be lying like a motherfucker. It wasn't me.
G, mine was the total opposite. It was a black teacher, black man, called my mama, told her I was acting up. Ain't no excuse. You know, ain't no excuse. She pulled up next day. I come into class. She already sitting in the back of the class.
Oh, damn.
Oh,
she sat. This was eighth grade, right before high school. She came and sat in the back of class. Woo. Yeah. Black dude too. She wasn't no prejudice. She believed everything that dude said.
Yeah, I guess maybe it was senior year. Yeah, it had to be like senior year. I feel like I know my mother. I feel like my mother and father was there. They pulled up, and it was like the surprise meeting. And I was like, oh shit, I guess I do be doing some extra shit a little bit. Like this was like when let me see how I can frame it. Like I had a couple classes that I would just sleep all the way through. And I was sleeping all the way through them, right? But then I had my other classes that if I was awake, I was kind of being an asshole. So like some of them, like I had my homie, and we would just, this was during like it was a couple things that was the Chappelle Show and South Park.
Oh yeah.
Like, I stumbled onto racial jokes, and that was the new fire. So like the Indians to this day, they probably hated me in high school because I stumbled onto that one, right? And like we was two black guys making Indian jokes at a predominantly black school. And like that was his own thing. And then I also had drumsticks that I would just drum everywhere in certain classes. So like they had to Yeah, this had to been. I feel like it was second semester senior year, but it might have been first semester. But they had to kind of like get me on track to be like, hey, you got to chill the fuck out. And I chilled the fuck out, and through the grace of God, I made it through high school. But yeah.
My dad was an administrator at my school my 11th grade year.
Oh, you ain't do shit at school, Johnny. You was
I still did. You know how many times I got taken to his office. Drag man, get your son. get your son. This motherfucker asshole. But I had good grades in high school, so it didn't
cigarettes
really matter.
outside the bathroom. That was you. That was your problem.
You say
kept,
what?
you kept getting caught smoking cigarettes. That was you.
Nah, not in high school. I was just I was a jokester. I had jokes for everybody in high school, but I got in trouble for talking. But my grades was good, so.
But yeah, I say that my biggest issue with the schools, I just seen too many teachers have power where they didn't deserve it and they abused it. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I got a lot of issues with that personally. Just like, I really don't necessarily like by default trust that teachers are going to always have the best interests, or the faculty, the administrators, the guidance counselors. I just don't trust from my own experience that these people are always going to have the best interests of their students.
Yeah, see, I didn't have like that experience of like a teacher telling me that I wasn't shit or anything like that. Well, maybe Mr. Well, he got close enough to it, but I also like I would be doing things, so it wasn't like I wasn't doing anything to make him be like stop being a fucking asshole, because I was being an asshole. And like generally speaking, if I was, and just from what I've seen, like if I was kind of like reprimanded, like, or like say like the meeting that I had with the staff and shit like that, I could look back and be like, and even inside the moment, I was like, well, you kind of wilding a little bit. You are doing the things that they're saying. And so it wasn't kind of like out of nowhere per se. And typically when I've worked inside the school, and like working within the school system, and like as teachers, I don't really know a bunch of people that have vendettas with kids, at least that I have personally ran across, where there's some that might not be like as equipped, especially young white women when they hop into it. Like they don't be the best equipped with shit. But I can't say that like I've ran across the experience where I was like, hey, you just got it out for this kid, as much as like, hey, I get it, but you got to chill out, little Johnny.
Yeah, no, I had a totally different, because like I said, my dad was an administrator, and so I think the teachers that had vendettas on me is because like I almost was like, I'll get in trouble and just go to my dad, get a pass, and like, so it was a totally different experience for me. So
Point of like you got in trouble though.
yeah, but I got in trouble, but like I still didn't like feel like that vendetta part, because like my people would put so much emphasis on education, and that like even when I got in trouble, I knew that the school part is like that's the part that's gonna make life better. So even if I got in trouble, they were mad at me because, hey, you got to do better in school. You got to do this because you got to get this degree. You got to get this, and so they put so much emphasis on it to where like the prison, that pipeline thing, I never saw it because it just was a strictly opportunity, and that's how it was painted for me. Education. It's always looked at as like that's what's
School
going
to
to take you.
opportunity pipeline for Johnny.
That's the way they painted it for me.
G.
No, I think I'm good on that one.
Yeah, I guess like the quickest thing that I could say to it is that like I do think that there is, especially within inner city schools, like there is a pipeline, and I think that it's a symptom more than it is like the reason. But I do think that there is usually like a streamline of things. Like that kid that is typically acting out, more times than not, they're either suffering from something undiagnosed, or there's a bunch of issues happening at home. And like 9 times out of 10, those are like what I've seen every single time. Like
True.
They're coming from a very specific space where they're parroting a bunch of things that they have seen around inside like their environment, and or they have something like undiagnosed oppositional defiance disorder or something like that. That'd be my take. So I guess moving on to just like the roles in general of teachers, administrators, policymakers, XYZ. I guess we can start here. Does representation matter, or is it importance overblown? Shout out to Johnny. We used to have Trey on the show, our Suburban Bulls, where y'all was in spaces where y'all representation might not have been the biggest. I don't like there wasn't going to be a bunch of black male teachers inside suburban high schools.
But I will say this, and I'll say it does matter. Even like,
but their parents were black male
educators.
teachers,
Yeah, so
or
that's where our
educators.
representation came.
True,
It was a
true.
lot.
But-
It was a lot
but-
closer to home.
landing it. But blacks inside these spaces do tend to do better in general, even if and when isolated. When we look at black kids that are in, and again, like there's a socioeconomic piece to it, but generally speaking, the populace of those kids that go to these suburban schools tend to achieve at a higher rate. Does representation matter, or is it overblown? What is your thoughts?
I think the representation still matters, even if you're in a space where you don't get a lot of it, or it's not. Like even the black kids in those suburban schools, I bet you we all guarantee remember our favorite black teacher. We all remember that one teacher that actually held it down and looked out for us more than the other ones. So I mean, there is still that little representation. I think when you go into like the
You go
higher
inner
income,
city and then you could have like
you say
10.
what?
I said, but then you can go inner city and have 10 black teachers.
But I think there's a different struggle when you come to some of those schools, and when you come to funding, you come into some of the socioeconomics of the kids that go to those schools. I think a lot of time it matters, but it's not the only thing that matters. And you can, if there's other issues, sometimes just that representation isn't going to overcome some of those other issues. It can help you survive in a space where you might not, see a lot of people that look like you, and looking for that person to kind of, relate to. But there are certain spaces where all the representation is not going to matter just because of the dysfunction that's, surrounding some of the communities.
No, I think it definitely matter. The representation, it's gotta matter, man. Like I especially like it. I think especially in high school, maybe younger elementary school, maybe not as much. Middle school, you might want to start to see, especially as a black male. I think it's nice to have other black male teachers to have that presence in the school. But especially in high school, man, I think it's important for students that be able to have teachers that are somewhat of a reflection of what they're familiar with to some degree. I think it's important. Just because like learning, man, it's more than a textbook. It's about being able to relate to your audience, making sure you can communicate with your audience. And that relatability, in terms of representation, can go a long way in helping just like making learning more enjoyable, in my opinion. So I think it's definitely important.
I got a rebuttal because it is important, but I think if you're in a school where, like, say it's 80% black, 90% black, I don't think the representation of the teachers matters as much when you're in a space where you're already like represented. But I think if you go in a space where there's 10% black and 90% white, I think that representation matters a lot more to that kid in that space because you're in a foreign environment, and like you can just look out to somebody and see yourself thriving in that same environment. I think that matters a lot more. But if you're talking about some of these inner city schools, the representation is these kids aren't like sticking, they're not, they're in their comfortable space. They're not going in this place with people that don't look like them. I think it matters more when you're in a foreign space, when you're surrounded by, mostly people that don't look like you. You need that representation a lot more.
So like if you were at an all black school, you'd be okay having all white teachers?
Not all white teachers, but I wouldn't be as
the list of voucher receipts.
It wouldn't matter as much to me because like we're all gonna go, like all my black friends are gonna go through this experience with this bad teacher together. So I don't necessarily need the representation as much as if I'm in a class with all white kids and a white teacher. I need that representation a lot more.
I'm not mad at the take. I understand what you're saying. I tiptoe the line. Like I understand how representation can matter when you're isolated, but when you're inside like a majority state, it wanes when it comes down to I'm only repeating what you just said. Like like if everybody is going through a very similar experience,
You get that representation
like,
amongst your peers.
you know, like once you then like eventually it's like that's the cool teacher, that's the mean teacher, that's the whoever. But it's a shared experience in comparison. If you go to like a majority white school with a majority white staff, that one black teacher now becomes a beacon where it's like, oh shit, like I want to get that class because maybe they can relate to me. Maybe we can have some shared experiences that I can get to, because even within my peer group, the majority of what I walk around, see around, and be around aren't exactly, or that they're not like me, quote unquote.
And you're gonna remember them in classes. Those teachers, like some of my favorite teachers, were the black male teachers that ended up being coaches. We had a program in middle school called Male Call, and it was for black kids, black guys, and black male teachers. We had probably 4-5 of them in the middle school, and like once Saturday every month, all the black boys. It'd be some white kids too, but it's mainly like black kids, and they'd all come together with the black teachers, and we do community service, go play ball. But it was a program, and it mattered so much to see those teachers, come and work with us when we were a small percentage of the school. They were a small percentage of the staff, but they still, created that program, and they got a basketball league now, community hoops and stuff. So I mean, it became a bigger thing just within our community based on those black teachers looking out for the black kids in that middle school. So I think it matters a whole lot when you're in some of these suburban spaces.
G?
No, I think it matters. Like I don't disagree with what Johnny's saying. I think it matters regardless of the space. Personally, I just think there's power in learning from somebody that looks like you. I just think there's power in that. So I just think regardless of the setting, when you can, have those types of figures around you, it to me then like makes it more realistic that, like, not to say like I have some cool white teachers, don't get me wrong, that I'll always remember, that I consider them like great educators, role models, etc. But I'd be lying if I wouldn't say that like I wish I had more black teachers to have that experience with that I didn't really have in my experience in high school. So I think it's a good thing to have regardless.
I would say the more I think about it, my experience with representation probably leans closer to age than it does race. Where
that's a big one too.
Like I think that like especially if if you are younger and black, then I think that there's like a better synergy there. But like shit, like a lot of like my civics and shit like that knowledge comes from like a younger white guy that was like my civics teacher in high school or something like that. Or like people that like the guys like the people that are a little bit more relatable, in my opinion. But I also like sometimes like you can get that older black lady and she be hell.
Be like your grandmama at school.
Yeah, she be hell.
She just trying to see who gonna fail. Her only goal is to like be like, let me see how many people that I failed today.
We had one in my school. Her name was Miss White. She was mean. Ooh, boy, it's mean.
Yeah,
Mrs. White was mean as shit.
You can run across a few of them too.
Golly,
yeah,
that lady.
Like they was around during corporal punishment. They just walk around. And yeah. Like so, I know for me, I think that the better representation for me was definitely age range. And then of course, like if you match both of those, like race and age and gender, I think that like now we like there's so many commonalities that yes. But yeah, I ain't gonna pretend like older black women. I ain't really have a lot of older men, black men that I had teachers. But older, like I can't act like we just got along really well, in my opinion. But nonetheless, we're gonna move on, and then we'll I'll start bringing up call-ins right after this meme. G, you sent in an interesting one.
And over
where
10 million of your taxpayer
Let me see if I
dollars.
can
I
get
know a
it.
private religious school receiving taxpayer dollars feels icky, but it actually gets a lot.
You know, it's funny because that's a
The
private
school has
religious
more than
school that
doubled its
the
tuition
little
in just
incident
2
just
years,
happened with
from
too.
$3,000 to over $18,000 per student. That's a tuition hike far beyond what most families could ever afford without these vouchers. And yet the school isn't exactly welcoming all students. Parents have publicly complained about the school denying enrollment based on what the school is calling administrative prerogative. This is just a fancy way of the school saying, we don't want your kid and we don't have to tell you why. Citing a vague phrase like administrative prerogative can be useful for private religious schools receiving public dollars because it allows them to dodge accusations of racial, religious, sexual, or intellectual discrimination. Meanwhile, Grace Christian School is planning a nearly $100 million expansion. New buildings, sports facilities, and more, all fueled by your taxpayer dollars. Bottom line, North Carolina's voucher program is not about helping kids trapped in failing schools. It is a taxpayer-funded scheme for private schools to hike tuition, exclude students, and grow their empires.
All right,
Oh yeah,
so
no, I ain't
again,
right.
we're talking about the role. This now is administrators / policymakers, where their role when it comes down to like the schools. What is y'all thoughts? This was like a very interesting. Like you do hear a lot of times, like though the people on the other side of town, they might advocate for school choice. That does come with a reason as well. When you start looking about like some private and then some charter funding and how they're able to get funding. Johnny, I guess we'll start with you. Talk to us, brother.
Yeah, no, I don't think like if you're getting taxpayer dollars, you should there should be a transparency about who you let in and who you don't let in. Because if we're all paying taxes and you're getting taxpayer dollars, I think you should have to, have some kind of criteria that can be verified and checked as to who you letting in and who you don't, because it is, public funding that's going to it. If not, if you don't want to do it, just don't take the taxpayer dollars and do whatever you want to do at a private school. But if you got a private school with taxpayer dollars, there should be, some kind of you owe something to the public since you're getting that taxpayer dollars. And I think,
Do you feel the way about charter schools too?
How does the admission of charter schools work? Is it just like a lottery system, or
yeah, but they get funded through state and federal money. That's allotted by the per kid rate, pretty much.
But I think if like I said, I think there should be a transparency in the admissions process. If it's a true lottery based on these many people are going to get selected and these people aren't, if it's random, that's fine, because it's there's only so many people that can get there. But the public should be able to go back and verify why these kids aren't getting in, who they're letting in, who they're not letting in, and just make sure it's a fair, equitable process if it's getting taxpayer dollars.
So you're also cool with the private schools getting the voucher money?
But just based on if we can verify there's no prejudice and like in who they're letting in and not letting in, I think they just said what they call it, administrative prejudice or whatever they did, just so they could just basically tell whoever they wanted to let in and not let in. I think there should be an actual requirement and a process that we can verify before you get taxpayer dollars and the admissions, because it should be fair and open to everybody, not just who they choose. If you're getting taxpayer dollars, can't hear you, G.
You
my bad. The charter schools, they don't charge tuition to go to those schools. So even though they do receive funding, they're not charging people to get in. I think for me, the issue with these private schools getting the funding is like, how are you charging this money and then being super selective with your admissions when you're receiving the federal funds or the taxpayers funds? Once you start receiving, I think the same is true for state funded education, like a UNC Chapel Hill, UNC Charlotte. They should be accepting way more in-state students because we're state residents that pay into this system. We should be able to get an advantage to getting into these schools. Excuse me, that say somebody from out of the state shouldn't have, because we pay into the system.
But there should be levels to it. I think UNC Chapel Hill shouldn't let in as many people as Charlotte does.
I'm not saying sure there can be levels, but generally speaking, if you're looking at candidates who have the same resume, one's from what is not Rock Hill. Y'all niggas got to go to South Carolina State. If
USC.
if what? But yeah, if somebody's from Gastonia and then somebody's from like Richmond and everything's equal, that spot should go to the North Carolinian, in my opinion. If it's a North Carolina public school, I just feel like if you're getting tax-paying dollars, your selection process can't be but so selective at that point. Like it has to be more of like a lottery system than a simple whatever term they used in the meme to like have this. It just needs to be by lottery.
But to me, like that's the issue with the entire thing is that like for them, they were doing all right beforehand, and the voucher system just gave all their parents an extra, what is it, $10K, and they just adjusted their prices to that because of, like, my issue would be the fact that they don't need any public funding more than the idea that they need or that they should change their private school rules to fit like a charter or a public issue.
Oh, no, I get it, but then
that'd be more the answer.
I agree, but they shouldn't. But I don't think they're gonna stop giving them the money. But if they're gonna continue giving them money, that's what I don't think. Oh, when did this start? Like,
I don't know. I think he said it inside the meme. Like they adjusted their things due to it. I think it was in the past 2 or 3 years.
Okay, but yeah, but no, they shouldn't get the money. That is the answer. But if they are, like he said,
he said that their tuition doubled since the ruling came out. Of
they definitely should have had a fix on to, like, you definitely shouldn't, like, you should definitely have like if you're receiving that money, you like a stipulation in terms of like raising your prices too, like that. There should just be certain checks and balances in place that don't seem to be in place at all.
Yeah, I agree.
Because like you said, they building $100 million facility. Like, we gonna have to audit that money. Like, where that money coming from?
They got new money. When you double.
Meanwhile, you got Forsyth County, $40 million in debt. You got all the other stuff just mishandling the funds. All these quote unquote underfunded public institutions, and yet these private schools are making bank and building new facilities while getting access taxpayers' dollars. It's crazy.
One of the key things to me with them getting funds from, you know what I'm saying, basically the government or from the state is this right here. If you want your child to go to private institutions, unless they're going there up under some type of grant or something like that coming from, you know what I'm saying, the state or something like that, if that's what you're doing, then you should be able to afford it. You shouldn't be able to get no voucher for your child, for everyone to get a voucher because you're sending your child to private school, because what that is doing is that's taking away from public school money. Now, if you are a person that you feel like your child is too good or you want your child to go there, I feel like you should not. The state should not fund you wanting to send your child to private school when public school is free and already our tax dollars is paying for that. Why should our tax dollars have to sit and pay for someone that feel like their child should be excluded from there? It already goes to this right here, even with the athletes and things of this nature. Once the athlete reaches a certain rate or something like that, as far as in their abilities, the private schools want them to come there. And their programs are a lot better a lot of times, and they have more scouts looking at them. Now you already pulling them away, and you're not pulling the scholars away though. Why is it that why are you pulling these athletes there, but you're not pulling the highest ones with the highest grades and things of that nature? If they were doing that, it would be one thing. But with this right here, all it is doing is supplementing the wealthy or the people who actually can't afford it. Because if you feel like your child is too good to go to public school, you should be able to afford yourself, not my tax dollars paying for your child to go to a private school when my child is sitting in public school. That's how I feel about it.
My only disagreement was that the private schools get better scouts. I can't agree to that one, but because it's a few of these private schools. The kids are starting to transfer to public. They moving. And I'm
this is totally off subject.
Hey, cute. But yeah, it's off subject. Unc was about to get me on a tangent.
No, I want to ask a question.
I agree with Unc.
Do the private school kids get NIL and the public schools aren't able to get it? Is that
It just changed.
okay? It just changed.
So
Okay.
previously, the bigger selling point was that, generally speaking, NIL was available in North Carolina for private schools, so they could pay the kids, and that's why you were getting more kids that were moving from public to private. I would say, at least in this area, the rank, well, it depends on what, like it's all conference based. Football and basketball, when it comes down to like private, public, and prep. I think that if you're inside like a really good prep school, maybe that has like the edge, but I would say in the area, like the Power 6 conference, like there's a lot of kids that's now transferring from private to come public to play inside like the private, like the Power 6, which is, so in North Carolina, like Charlotte, there's a conference that's 6 teams that's made up of, if you're talking football, these are the last 5 state champions for what is now 8A.
They got like 3-4 teams that's ranked top 10 in the state, right?
Yeah.
Like you talking about like Huff.
This is West Charlotte. This is well, Huff is not in this, but Huff is one of those teams. But
Independence.
Fuck, what is it? West Charlotte Chambers recently won a state. Like it's like I think 5 of the last 6 state champions in football. They're inside the conference, and so you have that. But then basketball, I think maybe you would say 4 of the last 6 state champions inside the conference. So like I said, you're having the kids that's transferring in, but there's more money when it comes down to like NIL, probably prep. Private, like you just have, like there's only like 2 private schools that you'll want to go to in Charlotte. The rest of them,
Catholic and Christian.
You said what?
Catholic and Christian.
Charlotte Catholic, a little bit. Not Latin's a dub now. Canon's a dub right now. Charlotte Christian, maybe. Like this is probably gonna be their down year, to be honest. And what Catholic? Nah, Catholic's not gonna have a team this year. Nobody cares about Catholic. Yeah, I think like now you said Charlotte, but I'm sure you're meaning Carmel Christian. Carmel Christian is gonna have.
That's that. Yeah. And what about Country Day?
They a dub, but Country Day is always a dub.
And I got one more question before we move on. What's the difference? What's a prep school versus a private school? Prep school, are they graduated?
No. Like one of one elite or Oak Hill or IMG or
okay.
Like Link Academy. Like for example, the kids that left Chambers, that like we had 2 5-stars where Torres went to Link Academy inside Missouri, who got Mount Vert's head coach. And then what's his name? Marcus, he went to Brewster in New York.
Oh shit.
Which is like another one of those academies where, like, with that prep, it's its own very like specific thing where more times than not, these kids, I think Kendrick Perkins was just talking about it, where like they do the minimal college requirements, and then most of it is based around like it's academy-based basketball almost. And so like Ambassador here in Charlotte is trying to turn into like the next the next IMG or the Charlotte IMG, where they're bankrolling. They got a lot of like high recruits here in Charlotte when they were inside the state of North Carolina. Football and basketball, I think that they're being bankrolled by Jordan and somebody from the Panthers. Like they're getting bankrolled, but typically money comes like one of one academy. That's a prep school that's funded completely by LaMelo Ball. That's
money different over there.
Melo got a prep school in Charlotte.
Yeah. He's had it for like the past 2-3 years. They done sent a bunch of kids to college. They solid. Yeah. No, they solid. For sure.
I ain't know Melo. Oh, that shit fire.
Yeah. 101 prep is Melo. But nonetheless, welcome to the show, Quincy. Talk to us, brother. I know we went on a NIL sports tangent. Johnny said the wrong words and it got me ramped up. But talk to us. What is your thoughts so far? And then we'll continue the conversation.
What's going on, fellas?
What up, man?
Yeah.
So I do think the schooling system is failing Americans. I think America is trying to do this delicate balance of having an open free market with capitalism and like was it is it G in the middle? I keep forgetting the name in the middle. G.
Yeah.
He said that spilled over into the education system, to which I feel like the education system should be protected from capitalism. It shouldn't have anything to do with capitalism. It should be about getting your the youth of your nation up and competitive up with the rest of the world, right? So that's one thing, and the other thing too is also like you see a lot of people questioning the value of college now, like whether or not they should spend all that money. And you mentioned, you spoke about how just the cost of college has skyrocketed. But even with that, kids going to college, you kind of selling this American dream of, hey, go spend 4 years in college, but the American citizens, not regardless of race, they're not prioritized in the workforce. It's not like America says we're going to protect this percentage of jobs for our American students. I mean, you see this right now going on in the IT world. I know specifically about IT because I'm in IT. There is a drop in computer science majors in the last year or two because not just because of AI. Everybody talks about AI, but people are running
But
away from
outsourcing is a big thing too.
Right, right.
India like they running it up right now.
Right. Either they import them in on H-1B visas or they exporting it into tech
Yeah.
firms overseas, right? And so you have it where it's just hard right now being, that used to be the lick. It used to be go to school for computer science, you come out, pushing 100, in your first couple of years. And now like that's kind of snatching a whole sector of the middle class out of America, right? So it's kind of like it goes hand in hand where I think with America, capitalism is starting to eat itself, or either that or the politicians and those that's in power, they're kind of leaving us up to fend for ourselves to the wolves. They're throwing us to the wolves because frankly, I don't think it's right that we have to compete with the whole world for jobs in our own country. You know what I mean? Like if we are law-abiding citizens, we you stay clean, you go to school, you're paying to the institution, you're paying to the taxes. I mean, it should be some degree of, oh, you know what? We're gonna make sure that you all, this is protected. Because I feel like once the American dream is gone, I don't know, man. I think that's when all hell gonna break loose. So I think right now you're seeing people just trying to keep their head above water. They might be trying to make money on TikTok, maybe trying to, make money here, there, little side hustles. But at a certain point, people could just start drowning because it's gone way too far. And so yeah, so it goes hand in hand, man. They're failing us on a bunch of fronts, and we definitely know in schooling. I mean, just last thing, like from I'm from small town in Georgia. It was real simple. You go to the school that you're zoned for. You know what I mean? It wasn't rocket science. It was a couple magnet schools, but for the most part, you go to the school you're zoned for. Some better than others, but it wasn't rocket science. Up in Atlanta, I'm in Atlanta right now, man. Pickett trying to find a school for kids, dude. It is, yeah. It was a headache. You know what I'm saying? It was a headache, and then of course you can't even really move right now because the housing done went up. So, you can't even afford the house you live in. You done bought already. You know what I mean? That thing that went up $200,000-$300,000. So
Man, listen, if them interest rates drop again, it's about to go on another run.
yeah. So it's so just to answer the question, man, it's failed us on all fronts, and I don't know how long this facade is gonna go on before people just start tearing shit up.
Yeah. And I guess to go to a point that you made, I do think that education should be isolated away from capitalism, but that is one of the primary issues with public education is the fact that a majority of the funding comes from like property rights. And with that, Like it doesn't matter. Like so, even if you max out your state shit, like I think they only account for 10 to 15% of whatever the budget is. Same difference with federal. Like you can be Title One, and when people like say these misnomers of the black schools or like the lower income schools are the most funded, and they're talking about state and federal money, the majority of a public school's budget comes from the from the property tax. And as long as you have those two things attached, it's going to be attached to capitalism, and that's always going to be an issue in my opinion.
Yeah, and just to add to that, that's also the byproduct of just good old American racism. You know, if this was from healthcare to like the property taxes, funding schools, all of that, it was really just them trying to keep black folks from getting access to stuff, or they don't want to pass certain stuff or just make stuff carte blanche equal and accessible for everybody because they didn't want black folks to get it. So I know, I'm not sure how or if we can ever get past that, but that is a root of a lot of these issues. And I don't how they go change it, what's got to happen, I don't know. But there does need to be people hate other countries are it's just fine when other countries prioritize their citizens. I think in Tanzania, I think they just passed some law that says something along the lines of if you're not a Tanzanian citizen, you can't own a business, and if you currently own a business, your license won't be renewed in XYZ time, right? There does need to be some degree of America prioritizing that, and that's nationalism, that's whatever people want to call it, but hey, it is what it is, man. We can't, Americans can't be like the battery. We kind of like the Matrix. We like the people in the pods in the Matrix, like just funding the world. Like that's kind of what Americans are, and they're just taking more and more from us and giving us little day by day, and it's just, I don't know. At a certain point, the bubble will bust, and maybe we'll be here to see it, maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't know if any.
Another topic, which we'll probably say maybe if we don't have one for next week, I might use that. It's National America's best solution. Unc, I'm gonna throw right to you. We can start with you actually. But I do want to kind of move the conversation to the next question. So now let's move into, again, we're talking the American public, the education system, primarily the public system, and what the issues are. So is the issue what is being taught? Is the curriculum and testing implicitly biased, or is it an excuse to escape accountability? Talk to me. I think Unc taking a break.
Cigarettes.
Yeah. All right. So we'll start at the top with G, and then we'll work our way around.
Can't hear you.
Can you say the question one more time?
All right. Is the curriculum and testing implicitly biased, or is it an excuse to escape accountability? What's your thoughts?
Nah, there's definitely bias to those tests. No question. The thing about that's where education can be misleading, because like depending on your teacher, sometimes your teacher will just like educate to the test because they know the test, they know what you need to do to pass the test. They're not really like helping you understand the curriculum. They're just preparing you for the test. It's like, it's no reason why, like, ACT and SATs, like folks who can afford test prep tend to do better than those who can't afford the test prep. And so there are biases associated with these different tests across the board with standardized tests, period, in my opinion.
But is what you explained, is that a racial bias or is that an income bias?
You said bias, but I don't think it.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know if the test is inherently racially biased, but there is bias.
I can see the income bias for sure. Like,
Yeah.
who forward more preparation. I definitely get that.
Yeah.
Johnny.
I don't think. I mean, I think the tests are. You could maybe say income bias, but I think and I ain't been on YouTube, but I imagine there's a lot of stuff where a lot of the test prep and a lot of the stuff that we used to have to pay for, that you can probably get a lot of that information for free now, with YouTube and stuff like that. Like
You
I
saying niggas
imagine.
don't want to study?
Yeah, I think if you study those, they're standardized tests. Like you can get the information on the internet. You can Google how to pass the SAT. Niggas ain't doing good. They just don't want to do good. I ain't buying it. Like I
Yeah,
ain't
that's
buying
crazy.
it. But
That's crazy.
like if you want to pass the SAT, there's enough information out there to pass it, or to make it to get good enough. But now the curriculum, I will say this: I do think the curriculum is on some BS, because like in English, there's no reason like in IB English, I'm reading To Kill a Mockingbird and not learning how to source, not learning how to do annotated bibliographies, not learning how to, in today's society, not learning how to read information and understand sourcing and be able to look through. And there's stuff they don't teach us like that in English. There's certain, financial stuff that they don't teach us in school. And like I think the curriculum could be overhauled to help make us way better, citizens. So I think that's something we could definitely look at. But as far as standardized testing, it's standardized. I could, it's across the board. They put the information out there. Niggas just gotta want it.
Damn. Okay. All right. Johnny with a heart. I like it's a strong take. I like it. Shout out to our brother. We got on him because he had the hat on last week. He brought it
Took
back.
it off.
He took it off. He back. He back. Shout out to our brother from South Africa. Kamu, talk to us, brother. What are some of the issues educationally that y'all run across in South Africa? Or do you think that y'all kind of have like issues within y'all education system that parallels some of the things here? I know you're a starch anti-feminist guy. I don't know if they teach that the feminism over there. The women just smarter than y'all with the degrees and the jobs. You gotta talk to
I hope you guys are good, man. And I was gonna come straight to that, bro. I mean, I think I think our problem is in the curriculum in and of itself. Other
Okay.
than that, we have our funding and infrastructure ready, and I think they are adequate. But in as far as education goes, our problem lies with the content of the education, which is the curriculum. It focuses on things it shouldn't be focusing on, and I'm not sure if it's driving the agenda or the narrative that majority of us want, in terms of nation building, or the acknowledgement of history and all of those things. I mean, a lot of things, bro, we kind of learn them outside of school, bro. Like a lot of basic things, and you're like, shit, man. I spent like 12 years of my life, and I didn't get to learn about this. Like I'm
Yeah,
only
what
learning it now as
is like
it's like
what you gotta learn at
it's
18?
not. So yeah. For us, bro, it really is about the curriculum. Other than that, bro, infrastructure is ready, funding is ready. But also there's another creeping concern now with an influx of illegal foreigners. They're taking up space for our kids now.
They smart as hell too, ain't they, Kamu? They smart as hell, ain't they?
It has been an issue for like maybe the last.
Hey, Kamal, let me ask you this question really quickly. What is the South African version of MAGA? Because it seems that you tend to be that. Whatever that. What do y'all call like the South African version
Kiss
of
the
MAGA?
boy.
Oh, is that what?
No, I'm not there. I wouldn't know, bro. I'm not there. It's just that, bro. These are bugging issues, man.
But you agree with a lot of Kiss the Boys?
I'm agreeing with how?
What you say, Johnny?
Kiss the boy. I don't know the party name, but who be kissing? Kill the boy.
Yeah. That's us, bro. That's us.
See, told you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So what's hold on, because that sounded kind of real crazy. Like, what's y'all over there? Y'all do what, the boys? Like what?
The boar, like a pig, boar, B-O-A-R.
Oh, the boar.
The boar.
Okay.
The boar.
So kill the boar or kiss the boar.
Kill the boar. Those are the people that chant that they got to kill the farmer and stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. All right.
No, don't, yo, Q, don't get carried away when I highlight the issues that we have with illegal foreigners stuff. It's just an issue that has to be addressed. But other than that, bro, still Pan Africanist, Africa first, brother.
African MAGA. African MAGA.
This some nationalist shit for your ass.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's funny.
Quincy, talk to us. Do you need me to repeat the question or you got it?
I'm up. It's me.
It's supposed to be Quincy and then and you.
Oh, gotcha. My bad. I thought it was okay. The curriculum 100% needs to either be reverted back to not reverted. What some of that stuff needs to come back, like the trades, shop, all of that. We definitely need men, young men, learning to work with their hands. I mean, that just is what it is. And like I said, was it Johnny mentioned about how all that math stuff he learned, arithmetic, all of that stuff. Not once do they tell us about interest, compound interest, credit card interest. All of the stuff that you actually need in life. The stuff you really need in life.
And such, or whatever that shit was called.
Right. We learn about everything under the sun except how to handle money, and that's the one thing that you had to deal with. Not everybody's going to be a math teacher or a mathematician, and but everybody's going to have to work with money. And the fact that financial literacy and anything financially related isn't taught in schools, it's like by default in the curriculum across the nation, is ridiculous. And part of me feel like that's intentional. I think they want us stupid. I think they want us making the mistakes coming out of high school, going into college, getting those high interest rate credit cards. I think they're the United States itself is predatory on the ignorance of the youth when it comes to finances. By the time you figure it out, you done lost a couple stacks or more.
Even to that point right there, like to the curriculum and forcing us to go to school, it's like we took the skill labor out of the curriculum. You can't learn to be a plumber in school no more. Can't learn to be
about shop class.
A mechanic. Can't learn to be a carpenter. Can't learn to have a trade anymore. Like we've taken all of that ability to build something on your own as a business person. Having your own service. To now going to school so that we can be plug and play for the society versus living the quote unquote American dream and giving people the skills to actually build something on their own, man. So I agree with what Quincy's saying right there for sure.
Yep.
Right. Talk to us. Man, Unc hit the pivot again. Yeah, that's Unc's second pivot. All right, let's go to old man then.
Yeah, so as it relates to tests, they're 100% economically and culturally biased. Going back to that SAT standardized test, they're asking questions that don't relate to people in the city. So they're talking about a farmer this, and they need to have questions like, okay, we got 3 crackheads over here in the corner. Then but real talk,
that's more biased. That's more biased. What are you talking about?
I'm making a joke, but what I'm trying to say is it's talking about stuff we haven't even began to think about. You can't even relate to it, and then the tests are too long. But anyway,
what is
they
it?
need?
They'd be like, this word to this word is this word to this word. You're like, what, nigga?
That's how you take a test, though.
Nigga, I was on that test just guessing like a motherfucker. I was like, I think
what's that got to do with cultural? Like we can't learn how to do the test.
So first of all,
I think where the racial bias would be at if in white. So for example, in a white, not city, but in a white household, they might say cupboard. Like we might just say inside, it's like in the closet or in the pantry or some shit like that. And like these are terms that you might not be introduced to, and these are like typically like the easy outs when people like use the idea of racial inside the anonyms, is the idea of like the specific dialogue that happens within the house that is not explicitly like taught in school. Once that shows up inside the test, that's where a bias would come in at.
Like somebody needs to do a test where you change the whole the SAT to African American vernacular, right? And see how well the white students do. Same exact test, but using our lingo. See, it matters. The language matters. But what I'm trying to say is that these tests are unlike any other tests you have ever taken in school. And you don't know that when you're not able to afford these SAT prep classes, right? So that if it's required to go to college, I think it should be a part of the curriculum in high school, not an elective, something that is required. So everybody is learning the same skill set, whether they can pay for it or not. So that's the bias right there, economically. And what was the other question?
Oh no, I think you
that was it. Okay.
Yeah, I think you answered both of them. Are you here this time? Okay, all right.
Yeah. My phone got a virus or something.
Daddy,
you gotta stay on Pornhub. You gotta
get off the
hub. You gotta stay off
Man,
the
I can't leave it alone. Nephew, I can't leave it alone. Nephew, I can't leave it alone.
Hey, Unc, how you do that in South
clicking
Carolina?
all them pop-ups. They go download on your phone, man.
Hey, boy, Unc got a VPN just to get on the hub.
You know I got that VPN. But anyway, I but you know, one thing that they don't have with you guys, I don't know if you guys had it, but did they have home economics in school with you guys?
Oh yeah, they did. I used to make. I made a pillow, made some eggs and shit.
I did the pillow too.
Yeah, we made a pillow. I remember that
Cupcake.
shit.
Oh, we baked the cake.
Yeah,
shit was flat as hell.
I personally didn't have.
Yeah, but see, it was
when I taught Japanese kids, they did have.
With home economics, they also taught you about finances and stuff. You know, they don't teach that no more. I don't think. You know what I'm saying? I don't think these kids get that.
But home ec was
teach
an
them about
elective.
the world.
And they barely taught. They only taught it for like one section.
With us, it wasn't elective. What it was, it was given to us as it was part of your curriculum when we were in middle school.
Yeah,
it was a middle school
part of our
thing.
curriculum.
You make those pillows and everything. Yep.
Was it
either middle school or
But they also had a part there that taught you about banking and stuff. I don't know if they did with y'all, but they taught you about finances a little bit.
Yeah, they did. Bro. It was like 1 week.
No, this was like a whole semester that you learned how to do that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But they need to bring something like that back. But the thing is that, you know what I'm saying, the curriculum in school is changing so much, and they don't want to teach. They teach across the board. As far as I hear, all classes have to be taught the same thing the same day and all this. And if that's the way it is, all kids don't learn like that. You know, all kids learn. And if you teach all across the board like that, how are you teaching? Because specific children learn differently. And as G was saying earlier, when he was speaking about, you know what I'm saying, the behavior thing and all this stuff, you have to look at it. I don't know how it is with y'all, but back when I was in school, they would take all in high school, the basement was, you had big ass high school kids in one class all day long in the damn basement. In the basement now. This was their class. This was their class. For 4 years, these big fuckers sat in the basement, and that's where they learned that, in the basement. They learned in the basement.
Our schools ain't got the basement.
Everybody else.
Put the big niggas in the basement.
Today they got trailers.
It was sad. It was sad. No, it was sad to see. And guess what? All the bastards went to lunch together and everything like they were still in elementary school. That was ridiculous.
Sat at one table.
This shit was sad, man. You walk past him and you look at him like that might be your homeboy. But he, you know what I'm saying, but he got in trouble for some shit as G was saying earlier, he might have got in trouble for something, for saying something back to the teacher, and he built the rapport as being a badass. So they said, Reverend, they sent their ass to the basement. That's not right.
Oh, could you make it out the basement though? Did any of the homies that made it?
Hell no. There was maybe a couple of them. I knew probably about 2 or 3 of them came out the basement. The rest of them stayed in the basement the whole damn 4 years in that damn basement, one class. They ain't even let them change classes. They just sat their ass down in the basement like they were helmets or something. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't right.
And
but
it wasn't.
The thing was that
these weren't special needs kids. These were just basement boys.
No, these are like the ones they said were like the worst of the worst. They take them away from everybody
How many fuck
else.
ups before you got sent to the basement? Would it be like 2, 3, 4?
I had no ideas because hell, I used to fuck up a lot. I ain't get sent down that motherfucker. So, but you know what I'm saying? They were down there though.
They
were down there.
And it was fucking up. That might have been an issue. They had that IEP.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think the thing is that some of them were actually, if you know what I'm saying, some of them were smart kids. They were just probably just, mischievous. But they stuck them down there and put them away from everybody, like, you know what I'm saying, hiding them and shit. And that wasn't right, but that's part of what, that kind of get into your subconscious. Think about if you did 4 years in high school in the basement away from everybody else, and even though you might be just as smart, if not smarter than some of these kids, but just because you might have a problem because you were taught at home the truth, or you might have went to the library and read a book that's in the school library, and you telling the teacher what she's teaching is wrong, but it's the right thing that's in there. Now they say that you did something wrong, and it happens, and it have happened like that. And then after that, teachers. Sometimes a teacher will build grudges against you, and once you come through that, you know what I'm saying, it's not fair. I just didn't think that was fair.
Yeah, they were sending the revolutionaries to the basement.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. Now, if they'll send the niggas to the basement just for being smart, I'm definitely against that. I guess kind of lend to this next question. I don't know if we'll get through the entire conversation, so maybe we'll do a part 2 next week, and we can kind of explore post graduation and some solutions to said education system, but and then a little bit of accountability piece. But I guess I'll ask you this: we spoke about some things that should be taught in school. So it sounded like we started speaking towards like some home ec, some finance, and things like that. Shop, trades, XYZ. Fellas, what are some things that shouldn't be taught in schools? If we're talking curriculum, we're talking implicit bias maybe, or not. Just things that aren't relevant to curriculum.
Trigonometry.
Say it again.
I would say, I would say anything that is American history, because majority of American history is lies. Majority of American history that they taught us in school, we came out of school and found out that majority of that stuff was lies.
I do find history to be rather useless from an education standpoint. Like,
you got to at least tell a lie once, though. You got to at least give me like the back
history is important.
Get a lie once. You got to at least run it down.
History should be saved for college. Like, if you want to learn history and you want to invest like time into history, I think you should because the reality is like,
I think important dates does matter for sure.
Like the 4th of July.
How deep we talking? Because they teach history like every damn year, damn near some kind of history.
Yeah, some of that shit turns to geography and
world history, and I think
political science, and
being versed in history in general. I think I think that there is definitely value to it. But I also am in a Discord where history don't exist.
It don't work, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. No, I'm gonna tell you the thing. It's not just history. It's American history. I'm talking about American history. World history, they kind of put blemishes on there. But American history is majority of that is bullshit. That's not all. That's whitewashed. Because majority of stuff that they said taught us in American history, we came out once you really learned the real history. They taught you 12 years of bullshit.
So
Fourth of
what's the
July?
main,
The 4th of
I'm about to
July.
say, what's the main things that in U.S. history that they taught that is bullshit for sure?
They said the natives were
Cowboys.
white.
Exactly.
They said cowboys were white.
Cowboys is white, and we know that Cowboys is black.
I don't know. Maybe I didn't have those books that they taught the Cowboys was.
Not specifically white.
Yeah,
It might have been assumed.
When you visualize a cowboy, what do you see?
That's an assumption, though.
Those are like the movies.
No, but in the pictures, in your books, all the pictures.
That's not what history class taught us, though. The movies taught us that, but not history class
Like
specifically.
I don't know if we didn't really spend a lot of time on like cowboys and shit.
Okay, so in your history book, it doesn't say white cowboy, right? But next to the word, when it says the cowboy or the Indian, the picture is the indoctrination. So when you see in this picture tied to the words, and those pictures don't,
I've never seen a white Indian either.
What is that?
I've never seen a white Native American in any of my history.
Oh, you have black Indians in your books?
No, like the ones that look Hispanic.
Yeah, those aren't the real Indians.
We don't have to go down this.
Hey, what about math?
hey, that's exactly. I think math is something, especially like there's a lot of high level math I learned in high school.
Math is important. Math is important.
Well,
yeah.
Not trigonometry. I don't use trigonometry.
Fellas, before we pivot off of that and go to math, and we're about to go to math. So I do think that, like, I do wonder. I guess maybe you can answer. Just some of the, like, what are some of the things or dates or moments in history that they taught us in high school that were completely incorrect?
The reason why World War I started and how it started and why we got through it and all that shit, because all that was bullshit. We got into, and that was bullshit. The reason why we got into World War II, that was bullshit as well. The way Martin Luther King was killed, that was bullshit because they won a lawsuit stating that he was murdered back in 1989. So it was a bunch of shit that was in there that was taught to us that was lies. So you know what I'm saying? Those just small, those kind of major but small things, but all of those are in history books and all of them are lies. You know? That's lies for a fact. And the fact that they came and said that Columbus discovered America, how can you discover a land that people are already on and already have civilizations and have actually places of technology that's better than where you came from in certain spots? You know, it's a lot of lies that was taught to us.
Yeah, I will. Like once I got that, once they started teaching that when I was in school, they wasn't saying Columbus discovered America.
Americo Vespucci, whatever his name was.
Yeah, they stopped saying that.
But after you got to remember, we way older than y'all, so we've experienced all the lies to a whole nother level.
That's fair. Okay, yeah, I give y'all that.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is.
And I think that I get the POV of like the world wars, and that's like the history of a country is always going, especially with the wars, is going to be painted with a slight brush of propaganda for sure.
Slant.
Oh, you know one class that used to be important that I hope that they ain't fucking emphasizing is damn typewriting. You remember that shit back in the day?
Yeah.
Motherfuckers used to
let
you take a typing class, get your words per minute up and shit. Man, that shit useless, boy. Useless.
No, actually, I work with a finance manager.
It's useless as hell right now.
It is
typing
like this.
It is.
Yeah. You don't need it. You don't need it today.
No, but I'm gonna tell you something that I feel like is needed is gym class. I don't know if y'all teachers see. I used to hate this about my gym teacher, but I loved it as I got older. Before we could do anything, like before we learned about soccer, anything else like that, we had to do the history on it. That's how I found out. That's why I laughed at everybody so hype about basketball, because basketball started off as a sport for women. It had nothing to do with men. It was women. It was an exercise for women throwing a little ball into a peach basket, and that's how basketball started. But men love it so much and hate the fact.
I don't know, I gotta check your sources on that one.
Cut his ass off.
Yeah, I gotta
Yeah,
check his
I
source
ain't,
code
I
on
ain't
that
never
one.
heard that
I ain't
one.
never heard that in my
WNBA
life.
cut his ass off.
When they talk
I
about
heard
Naismith,
Nate
they don't say
Smith.
Naismith
Exactly.
lifted the
Yeah,
women.
Nate Smith didn't make the game for the hoes, man.
WA.
That could be true.
It started from that right there. It was a women's sport. It was.
We
It
have
was. It was a way for women to get exercise. That's how basketball started. Them throwing a ball into a peach basket.
And where was this? What country was this in?
United States of America.
Nah, basketball
Lazy
started in
ass
Canada,
women.
bro.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
If it did start in Canada, it was the women. Look it up. You got it. You got it. Do you have it?
Them Dracos.
I think you off, I ain't gonna lie. Yo,
It's
gym
a Google
teacher.
search away. Let me look.
Hey, that's just more proof
That's
for
what I'm
your
saying, just
failed
Google
curriculum.
search it.
Your school gym teacher lied to you again. Like you said, them niggas is lying. I ain't
No, I'm
never
saying,
heard.
look it up. Google search it. Google search it.
Yeah, Nate Smith created the game for his male students at the YMCA in Canada. No,
It
he's a
just says his
Canadian.
students. It didn't
He's a
say male or
Canadian.
female.
He's a Canadian, but it was in Massachusetts.
Hey, I had a thought when you mentioned typing, because I think you still need to learn how to type on a keyboard.
Yes.
Maybe not a typewriter, but at least on a keyboard.
But tell me why? Because you can learn how to type on your phone.
Because there's some people that type slow as shit out here in professional environments. I know.
Yeah, but good. Right.
You can use voice to text. Like it's just not as much of a necessity.
True, and that's related. That's related to my follow up thought about it. But I do think like I get what you're saying about voice to text, but there is something to be said about it's kind of like AI. Like you could talk to AI and prompt it on what you want it to do, but it may not do it exactly. But that's why you have like VFX artists who know how to go in there and make it do exactly what you want it to do. And I think that's kind of similar between typing and speech to text. To which I'm with you. You can actually just do speech to text all the way through, and then go back in and follow up and modify it and clean it up or whatnot without typing it. But maybe I'm just old school, and like I said, I'm a software developer, so I'm always typing. But like writing papers, but then, like I said, but then again, but hold on. So I agree with you halfway.
I agree and disagree with you, Quentin.
My general point is like words per minute shit. Like, you know how I used to rank you, you got to be typing X amount of words per minute. Like that shit is obsolete.
Right,
that
right.
shit still matter though, because there's certain environments where you need to be able to like type shit quickly. Like if you work
see Nate.
I believe
keyboard and an iPad and a phone to where.
I believe the typewriting should come earlier at a younger age in elementary, right? Because it helps with hand-eye coordination. You don't need to do it when you're getting into junior high and high school. That's when
I can agree with that.
I can agree with
that.
Yeah, for sure.
I can agree with that.
We were doing it on those old Apple computers, like in third or fourth grade.
Hey, I remember actual typewriters where that motherfucker go ding and go all the way to the end. Like,
oh no, you old G, because I remember I just saw my first typewriter ever like a year ago.
Crazy. My mother had
Johnny, you was privileged. You grew up with that electricity and the computers.
A typewriter, nigga, you grew up in the 60s. Like,
nah,
typewriter.
I had a typewriter.
Me and G the same age. My mother definitely had a typewriter. And I remember like when you make a mistake on it, when you type it in a typewriter, that's when you need whiteout.
Need that whiteout, yeah.
And then you gotta make the little corrections. That like this is a real thing.
Now, my sister had a typewriter, but I never saw one until like
to make sure the staples lined up straight and like, it was his own thing.
I never, that's crazy. A typewriter. I thought them shits was ancient, bro.
Nah.
I thought it was an ancient technology.
Yeah, and so look, I had a thought. Like, what if a lot of this stuff that we actually don't need? Like, I halfway agree with you, G, about not needing to learn how to type. Halfway, right? But the old school in me still feel like you need to. But what if a lot of the stuff that they have kids doing is less about the idea that they actually need to do it, and more about just developing a discipline to be able to do it, and separating those who will become productive citizens and who do have the drive to do it, and those who don't.
Like the idea of rigor, just having a rigorous thing to go through to prove that you can.
To speak to Quincy's point, I think like I said earlier, the board of education was designed to turn the American public or the average person into a labor force and to get them conditioned into the labor force. And like you say, I think that's part of what a lot of this shit is. The useless things that we learn is to get us just conditioned into just being obedient and doing what we're told and just following to just following instructions. I think that's a lot of what school is about, just teaching us how to follow instructions and not necessarily question or like do deeper thinking into it, but just be obedient. And I think
Yeah.
that's a lot of what we are taught in school.
Kamala, I think you want to hop in.
Well, if that
Yeah,
Froze.
you breaking up.
He froze.
if yeah, I'm picking up.
You back.
If discipline is the objective of all of this, then kids sent to the military, dog. There's no need for discipline is what is being.
I think
But
this
see
straight
discipline
up to the
outside of the
military.
military too, though.
Yeah,
Straight up
I
about
think discipline is hyper important. This is also why I advocate for kids to play sports younger, high school, whenever.
Well,
I think that like structure and discipline, like even statistically inside every metric, kids that engage in those things at high school, middle school, elementary school, college, like they typically fare and do better on average than like the average populace because of learning how to learning how to get good at a thing is a translatable skill across the board. And like for me, once I learned like the root of how to get good at something, that's the skill that I translated towards everything that I got good at. And to me, that was taught through like a version of structured discipline in which I learned, like I said, like whether it's going to be through sports, through military, through like whatever means of it. I think that learning that is way more important than just like go to the military.
Hey, I got a I don't know if it's a rebuttal, but I think that black people in America have an unhealthy relationship with sports. Specifically, black men have an unhealthy relationship with sports. So I don't disagree with you on the surface about, hey, join sports and learn accountability, especially like being a football player. 11 players, everybody got to do their role for this play to work.
60 of them.
Right, basketball, all of that. I agree with it on the surface, but I feel like historically, especially in the last few decades, we've lost a lot of potential, black men's potential, because they focus so much on sports, because we over-indexed on sports. Now I agree with the discipline and all of that, but I just feel like I just feel like as it stands right now, black men specifically have a unhealthy relationship with sports, to the point where I like by the time we got these kids running around in AAU and all of that stuff, all these black kids running around in AAU, you know what these other kids doing? They going to coding camps. They go
Why is that unhealthy though?
But old man, what about all the black kids that
Unhealthy
get free
when you make
education
that the
sports?
child's identity and you don't give them a rich experience of different things. Like there are some situations where when you are leaning into a sport, like these sports go year round. So like if you really got a kid that's playing high level football, basketball, baseball, any sport, it's not like a seasonal thing like it used to be back in the day. They're really committed to it throughout the year, and that can that could take you away from other skills potentially that can make you more well-rounded potentially. But I think that's just parents got to be intentional about giving their kids a great experience, in my opinion.
I also think
go ahead, Johnny.
Like I think there's
I don't respond to
a lot of like black kids who have like turned sports into an opportunity to get someplace they never would be able to, and like even like you don't make it to, like I know a lot of people that didn't necessarily make it to NFL, NBA, but like they turn like their college education into, now I'm a finance manager, now I'm this. So like sports opens up a lot of doors outside of just sports. Now I do agree you do have to have balance, and you can't just let one sport become your identity, because I have seen that where like I'm a football player, and then once you no longer have football, you're lost. So I think there's balance that's always important. But I think sports has opened up a lot of doors for a lot of people that wouldn't necessarily, have those doors open if it wasn't for sports. So I think
Yeah,
it's been
and I think that inside like every metric that, like, if you just look it up, every metric that you can judge, like kids that play sports, like I think that a lot of times this is almost like an outside looking in POV more times than not, is that most kids like there's a few kids that understand that they have a chance. Most kids aren't playing like said sport and thinking that they're about to make it to the league, especially once you get towards like a high school and inside like very specific realm. Like most kids kind of understand, but it's a like it's a thing of, let me see, like routine, discipline, and structure that has been shown generally, whether you look at like lower socioeconomic places, wherever else, like the people that are on, let's say the basketball team or the football team, they graduate at a higher rate because they have collective responsibility. They have higher GPAs because they have a need to meet a specific standard. And again, like we can move from sports, and you could do the same thing with band. Anything that puts kids inside a space where they have to consistently be accountable. It has shown just through stats and measurable objective measurements that it has been really, really good for the community. And I just like I would, yeah, definitely the structure. And my last pushback to what Quincy said, like I do understand that if you make a kid's sole identity like basketball and that's the only thing, and I've seen, like, I think that they're outliers, but there's a couple of them where like you might have like an OD dad, and like this is almost like completely this kid's explicit identity. I think that that's, and again, like I'm deep into the world. I think that that's far in between. In comparison, I think that a good portion of these kids learn the social skills that most kids don't get the opportunity to learn because of computers, iPads, and
leadership.
like the inside pieces. Well, you learn leadership, you learn accountability, you learn a meritocracy, but you also learn like an idea that you can work as hard as you can and not get some shit. You learn how to deal with wins and losses. Like it's so many different,
so
like,
many lessons.
It's so many lessons that, in my opinion. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Let's keep it real. School is 100. It's boring. And nobody. If we didn't have sports and people as dedicated to sports as we do now, we would really be in trouble. And I'm just speaking for myself. Like I was in a sports league that was all year round. We played every sport, right? But my first exposure to like going to the mountains, going to zoo, going to trips with my teammates, it wasn't about us playing the games. It was all the other curricular activities that we did, and bonding and learning what to do and what not to do. It was all the lessons were taught to me through my sports league and not through the education system. I have to say that right now. I would not have went to college without being involved in sports and the band. And you 100% right, Q, on the band, because
I'm literally the exact same way. I never thought about college until senior year.
Didn't even care. And then my in ninth grade, my band teacher happened to be my basketball coach, right? And then he said, whatever you do, basketball, music, anything, the formula is the same: constant, proper repetition and repeat. And I do that in everything, even if I don't get it and it's hard for me to understand something. Constant, proper repetition and repeat, just over and over, drill it. And if somebody is just only good at playing basketball, you have a career in front of you. You can be a coach, you can be a teacher, you can do what
trainer.
You can be a trainer. Like if someone is only going to be good at coding and that's all they did, it's no different than someone who's just focused on playing basketball. But they're going to be a pro in what they've learned over the years. It's going to be 10 to 12, 13 years that you've been doing that one thing. You are skilled enough and you will develop enough information where you can transition that into a job. It might not be some high extravagant paying job, but it's a job that you can help other people that were just like you. So I'm 100% against you, Quincy. I need sports.
Well. To be fair, I said it's not that I disagree with it. I said black
Over index. He said
yeah,
over index.
right. I said black Americans have an unhealthy, black men have an unhealthy relationship with sports, and that's where I kind of will pull back.
Can I ask you this?
Yeah.
So do you think when you say men have an over index, do you mean that as in like fandom? Because like I guess
No.
If I was the X, I think that most guys once their kid gets about middle school, like at least about half to about 3/4 of that grouping drop off that even would have had like those pro and hope dreams.
No. So okay, I'm with you on that.
Okay.
When I say we have a healthy relationship,
Mm-hmm.
think about, my man, he spoke about the travel teams and the AAU teams these days. I'm 42, so I was a teen in the mid 90s, and and my older cousin played travel ball. I've just seen from my neighborhood to my city, which is a big basketball city, right? Even moving up, coming to Atlanta, and you see like the people who go to Georgia Tech. I know a lot of folks who play for Georgia Tech, and then once I've seen it just a lot of times. Not saying that the sports haven't helped them as far as discipline go, but just what I've seen is once football is over, once basketball is over, it's like okay, now what, right? And they are starting at say like 20, 21, 22, whereas their competition been doing this, like they've been doing this for like 5, 6, 7, 8 years. They've been studying whatever field they're going to go in. Their competition has been doing it for at minimum 5 years longer than them. So that's the only thing is that we when I say we lose a lot of brothers, it's like we kind of start late. Because, like I said, we kind of over index on the sports. And for the record, I play sports too.
Hey, but Quincy, can I rebuttal though? Because like think about the guys who like and the outcomes of the guys who like may never have played those sports and end up there and where they're going and look at like where they're at, and versus like there's some of the guys where they start, but at least some of these guys are starting with 4-year degrees with like education and some, and so there may be a few that like get lost in the identity, but for the average, for the most of them, they even when they quit, they're quitting ahead of the game versus the people who never went to that second level with the sports. And that's why I don't think it actually helps us in a lot of spots.
See, hold on, real quick. This is my last thing. I understand. I promise you, I understand everything that you all are saying. I guess in my mind, I just envision a lot of other kids getting a head start above black guys, young black men. Just getting a head start.
Not just because
No. Like, cause I've sent me and my son have went to a number. He's like 9. We went to a number of like tech camps on Georgia Tech's campus. I'm telling you, he's probably one of, I don't know, 3 or 4 black kids. All the rest of them,
and that's in Atlanta, and that's in Atlanta,
and that's in Atlanta, downtown Atlanta. I promise you, the rest of them be Asian and Indian and white. So that's what I'm saying when I'm seeing. But you know what? My son also plays basketball. He also plays basketball, and when basketball, it's all basketball is all kind of black kids. But when we go over to these little camps, these little tech camps, or these little where you got to learn stuff, dude, we are few and far in between. I'm just saying, do both of them.
But do any of those kids that are in those IT camps, do they play sports?
A lot of them probably play sports.
Because you got to talk about energy and time, right?
Yes, my son does. My
So
son does.
your son is overachieving because he's doing both.
No, but Quincy, not Quincy. Man, honestly speaking though, and I was going to ask you 2 questions. I think one would be like, what is the percentage of white Americans that's in there? But the second would be, like those kids at that coding camp. How many of them do play sports? But then you have to think about like what sports do black people over-index in, but there's a bunch of sports that white people over-index in. And then you can go like if you go into like even tennis or lacrosse or different things like that. So now we have soccer. Now we're talking what these other kids over indexing as well, where even a part of being a college, not like your college resume in general, what makes you stand out is like sports and extracurriculars.
I don't disagree. I ain't disagree.
And that'd be my only rebuttal. Like if you're speaking specifically basketball, then I understand what you're saying. But when you open it to all sports, like 9 times out of 10, these kids also play these things. So if you go to a soccer or baseball tournament, in which if you've ever seen them, like they're just as bad as AAU basketball, where these kids travel, these kids pay dues, they play year round. And like it's a lot of money that's thrown into it and energy and training. These are primarily white and Hispanic kids.
With soccer,
Can I ask you guys something for?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I was just saying. I found out from sports. Sports are pretty good and things like that nature, and they teach the children certain things. You know, like y'all was saying, as far as in like communicating with others and a lot of different things. But I found out because my son, when he played sports, it was a good thing, but then he got into acting, and I was like, oh my God, acting, good God. But the same thing that's in sports, as you were saying, from the you know what I'm saying, being on a band and stuff like that goes along with that, because it's a lot of things that goes on with that I didn't know myself, as far as with the things they learned, because he's not just learning how to act, but he's learning also how to be a director, a producer. He's learning about being behind the scenes, as far as in wardrobe, and it's a different,
But,
you know what I'm saying. So yeah.
I also imagine, like, the thing about being an actor, if you try to get that role, you got to practice. Like there's a certain level of like, repetition that comes with like learning lines. Like to me, that is still an extracurricular that has a sense of structure, hierarchy, and competitiveness. And to me, like that's all.
But
I don't think it has to be a sport as much as it needs to be. Like you should be engaged in extracurriculars that involve your peers, that involve some version of hierarchy and structure, in my opinion. Whatever that thing is.
But one thing I did find from him doing that, first he was doing okay with his grades and stuff when it came out to him playing football or him wrestling and him doing the different things. But from him having to read as much and do all that, his grades got a lot much better, because I guess his comprehension came into play with him having to do that memory far and lines and stuff like this. His grades skyrocketed. It was amazing. I was like, damn, But it was also it was a camaraderie thing that I see between them. The way they do the same way in sports, it was something that I wouldn't have thought to do. But with him doing that, it just showed me differently that sports isn't the all in be for everything with everybody, and it's about the same way, like you were saying. It's just them, getting together, and it's a lot of different fields and a lot of different ways that they can make money with it.
If you group it into like extracurriculars, I think that like group-based extracurriculars, that's my main thing. Like the easiest way to name that would be sports, but I would say like as long as you get those principles that exist within all like within sports or band or theater or anything where you got to compete for something, I think that you learn pretty much the same lessons.
I have a quick question, Quincy. So on these IT programs,
we'll finish after this question right here.
Yeah, these events, what are they teaching, and what is it connecting to? Like when you talk about coding, what is the coding? How are they using the coding?
Like entry level coding camps. A lot of like there's a basic Hello World app that all programs you do just to print out Hello World. That's a simple one of writing, debugging, compiling, and deploying. And then you go from there. Some of them, it depends on the camp. Sometimes you do like calculators. They even have like Minecraft. As much as kids play Minecraft in these video games, they actually have coding components.
So my suggestion, if you have any connection to those people, if they want to improve their enrollment with Black children, figure out programs and classes and workshops that connect the coding to sports and things that those people would be interested in. That's how you're going to get them to break through. If it's just some random, just boring stuff they're learning, that's just like going to another class. It's going to school. You got to connect it to what they're interested in. So
Dude,
if they love
black people
sports,
love video games. Black people love video games, and
yeah. But your
I've tried to
comparison was
tell.
talking about people.
They love
are people
they love
yeah,
Call of Duty.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, I've tried to tell many.
GTA.
Yeah, I've tried to tell many young folks, if you love video games so much, learn how to program video games. Learn how to be a graphic artist for video games. You
That's
know, and
true.
these are
That's
all
true.
black kids. Like, you know, we can't act like brothers don't play video games. You know what I mean? We probably do that more than sports, damn near.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, so code, you know, and code and the video game is $1 billion industry. So I mean, if it's like, come on, man, like, you know, so it's not hard to kind of garner.
I don't
interest.
praise away from it. Like I said, I think that because like I said, the majority of like I work at a tech company. My the CEO of my company is a guy that plays sports. My manager is a guy that plays sports. Like I can go down the line, and majority of people that's not women inside the company, like most of them that's inside positions, they did play sports, but they also understood like there was a shelf life, but they learned lessons within it. And that's what I'm saying. Like there's a high minority that play sports. And like if you just look at the numbers of how many kids get D1 offers in comparison to the pool, then like there's a space where reality sets in.
Yeah,
Like
you know what? And I promise this is my last thing. I'm actually agreeing with you, and I think it just clicked to me why sports may have the discipline that you learn from sports. It sticks maybe more than other areas. It's because there's real stakes in sports. Like you will lose the game and piss everybody off if you mess up in sports, right? Whereas say if you develop in a video game, I mean, you mess it up. I mean, how much trouble you get in, right? Now, if you go out there and you got billions of dollars behind you and you mess a game up with a patch, then it's hell to pay. But as far as like growing up, being a 6, 7, 8 under 18-year-old person playing sports, it's real ramifications in real time. You know, if you mess up in sports, and that does kind of feed into the discipline aspect. So I'm conceding from that angle that sports does have an edge over other areas as far as real world consequences.
I don't even think it's the idea of like an edge or anything, as much as I think that there's an importance that can be learned inside being in it inside a period of time. That isn't got to consume your life or anything like that. But nonetheless, this has been a fun episode of Unpacked. I think that we might have 2 new topics. It's obviously we do have some sport sports and Black society conversations to unpack. We kind of stumbled upon this one just now. Nationalism. I think that's another good one. And we didn't get to the second half of these questions. So we got some fun conversations coming up these next 3 weeks that I think is going to make for fun dialogue. But again, we was able to talk about sending our kids back to school and what's going on. Are they intentionally failing our kids? Is it the system? Is there like some parent and teacher administration school accountability? And shout out to the panel, shout out to the chat. We have G at the top, Johnny, Camus, Unc, Quincy, old man, all the fun, all the regulars. Shout out A Black on his way back to Africa, I think. But shout out to and this has been a fun episode. With that said, peace out.
It doesn't matter